Lights are on. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, April 17th, 2018 caucus meeting for the City of Brook Park. Michelle, please call the roll.
Scott.
Here.
Bergio.
Here.
Orcutt.
Here.
Stem.
Here.
Mancini.
Here.
Poindexter.
Here.
Salvatore.
Here.
If everyone would, please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first item under discussion tonight is Division of Liquor Control, CTRFO, from permit number 3274888 for a D1, D2, D3, and D3A to Goodwin Food and Spirits LLC, located 13311 Brook Park Road, Brook Park, Ohio 44142, from 1981-13311 Brook Park LLC, DBA Amber's Cabaret, permit number 6548557, located at 13311 Brook Park Road, Brook Park, Ohio 44142, for a D1, D2, D3, and D3A. Postmark date of 4/27/2018 per Council President Vecchio. This was moved by motion from the April 10th, 2018 caucus agenda. I guess first and foremost, I'll go to the Law Director, see if there's any new on this. Madam Law Director?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to make sure that we had enough information to properly evaluate this particular transfer, and I'm fully satisfied that we've had an opportunity to do our due diligence. I've looked at the records that have been on file with the Secretary of State with regard to business filings, and I've done some docket checks. I've also had the opportunity to speak with Denise Fry, and my understanding is she will be taking that business over. That's the reason for the liquor license transfer. And after speaking with her, I'm confident that she will run this particular business in as professional a manner as possible. I also wanted, and I thank Council for giving me a little bit of extra time on this, because I wanted to reach out to Chief Foster in our police department and find out if there were any issues there that council should be aware of. And he indicated to me that there were not, that everything was fine. So I would suggest to council that this is probably something that council would look at and say that it has been discussed with the understanding that due diligence has been done in this matter. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Salvatore?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Based on the information provided, I'd like to make a motion this was discussed.
Support.
Motion on the floor that this was discussed, properly supported. Discussion on the motion? Seeing none. Michelle, please call the roll on the motion.
Salvatore.
Yes.
Mancini.
Yes.
Poindexter.
Yes.
Stem.
Yes.
Orcutt.
Yes.
Bergio.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item number 2, the Home Fix Program, introduced by Councilman Scott per Council President Vecchio. Mr. Scott?
Thank you, Council President. Real quick, this is a program that was, it's called the Home Fix Program. The Western Reserve Area Academy on Aging offers a home repair program to eligible older adults in our 5-county region. The program is funded by the Ohio Development Services Agency, Housing Assistance Grant Program, Home Depot Foundation, and the Huntington Bank. Basically, this is a free program for anybody over 60. There's 5 requirements to be eligible. The first one is you got to be age 60 or older. Your income has to be at or below 50% of the county's median income. You must own the home where modification and repair will be completed, which means if you live in a double and you apply for this, if you have rental, if you live in a double and one part's a rental, the only part that could qualify is the part that you're living in, not the rental part. A complete application, sign appropriate release forms, and you got to provide proof of income and ownership, and the property taxes must be current. Home repairs provided are the carpentry, steps, handrails, doors. If you got a front porch that needs steps, they would put them on. Electrical systems, heating systems, hot water tanks, kitchen and bathroom modifications. That means any safety bars or anything that you, senior needs in the bathroom to make it safe. That's what that's about. Plumbing issues, hot water, like I said, hot water tanks is something you ought to jump on. Severely deteriorated walls, floors, doors, and other critical emergency repairs. Basically, this does anything except major repairs. Example is a roof or windows. I gave each council member a copy of the information. If you want to call them, and they will give you the number. I could give you the number right now, but I know you're not going to remember. It's area code 216-621-0303. Smart thing is dial 0 for the operator. Don't go through the hit 2, hit 3, hit 5. It's not. It'll lead you to a never-ending path. So basically, it's a free program for older adults who need emergency repairs or home modifications. Basically, it's a safety program. This is not a city program. A resident showed this to me about 2 months ago, and I had to check on it, make sure everything was up and up about it. And it is a good program. But like I said, if you want to contact your council member in your ward or your council at large, they should have all the information, all the contact information. So best thing to do is get on this if you can. It's a good program. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Mr. Mancini?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair to Councilman Scott. Rich, very good program. I know, and we will get calls on this. There's no doubt about it. Just one real quick brief thing. If we could go to the below 50%. So you have a single roughly would be 21 roughly, 21 grand it would be below? Or is that what the
Well, if you go on to
figure?
go to the fourth page, they got a more precise breakdown. Household size 1, it's anything below 23. Household size 2, anything below 26.
6, yeah, 20. So the family one would be 26, and the single would be roughly that 23. It could probably weed a lot of people out, but there is people that would qualify for this in Brook Park. So again, I think this is a pretty good program. I know we'll be getting calls. There's no doubt about it. So, okay, I appreciate. Thank you.
So I want to give everybody a copy of the application. If you look on the back, the application's there, and if you need, person needs help, the best thing to do is call that number that I gave you, and they will walk you through it.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mancini. Mr. Salvatore?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair to Councilman Scott. Thanks for bringing this forward. I appreciate your efforts, and you're always out there looking for something that our residents may take advantage of. I just have one quick question. Is there any way to track this program to see how many residents actually used it?
No, because this is through the Western Reserve, there's really no way of,
Okay.
I mean, I probably find out, but I don't believe it's a
I
5
just thought-
county-wide
I thought you
system.
might know. I mean, I can make some calls and find out too, but if you do talk to anybody, that would be something I'd be interested in knowing if we can track it at the end of
Okay.
the year, see how much of an impact it made in our
Well,
residents.
this should help offset the HMAP program. Hopefully, it'll, it's a lower age bracket, to qualify. And plus, like, it's free money.
Well, I think you're right. I think it'll go hand in hand with our program, because our program still exists. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Poindexter?
Thank you, Council President. Through the chair to Councilman Scott. How do they select, is anybody that applies to this, are they, is there a selection process or?
They have to qualify. As you can see, the application is there. They got to fill out the application, and then they got to select a selection committee that'll pick it out. And if they, if they do qualify, they'll follow up with a phone call, and they'll come out and inspect and get a price and, you know, do all the estimating on it.
I guess more, my question is, about how many people a year do they help, or is it,
It's random. It's
Oh,
whoever
okay.
applies.
okay,
It's,
Okay,
like I said, it's an open program for 5 counties. So,
okay, I got you.
Mr. Scott, I may have missed it. Was there, did you talk about the contractors that actually did perform the work in the programs?
this is through the Home Fix program. They
Well, what I'm saying is there a list of contractors that they have that they use, or how do you know the criteria that's relevant to those contractors being, you know, certified or whatever else? Do we know anything about that?
No.
Okay.
No, like I said, this is their program, so.
Right. Okay. Anyone else?
If you want, I could make a follow-up call.
Ms. Salvatore?
Motion that was discussed?
Support.
Motion on the floor that this was discussed, properly supported. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, Michelle, please call the roll.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Mancini,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Item number 3, capital improvement and economic development fund appropriations per Council President Vecchio, moved by motion from the April 10th, 2018 caucus agenda. Floor is open, gentlemen. Mr. Stem.
Thank you, Council President. Through the Chair to Council, the mayor provided me with a breakdown of the police vehicle leases. I made copies for everybody if everybody wants to look at it. And we can open up a discussion on that. I think that's the best way to start tonight.
Yeah, that's fine. Greg, there's 3 vehicles on here. Assuming this is 1 Explorer, 1 Taurus, and 1 F-150. So vehicles plus option on the 3-year lease payments are total for $149,611, $49,870 a year for the 3. Am I correct?
That's my understanding. We might have to defer to the finance director. I don't know if Mr. Single got a copy of this. May have a second one.
I do not have a copy.
Mayor's bringing it down to you, Greg.
He needs a-
I got one. Well, while Mr. Single's adding it up, I believe the original from the last amount was $58,000, what was quoted on 5 vehicles, correct? Was the lease?
I believe that was on, under the appropriations, I'm sorry, under the proposed capital expenditures, it's listed at 58,000.
And that was on 5 vehicles. But when I looked up the total on that of 260,000 on 5 vehicles, it came out to 52,000.
Okay, I have 58,000 under the 5 vehicles under Chief Foster's wish list.
Okay.
That's for the 3 Explorers, the F-150, and the Taurus.
Greg's obviously running the numbers.
Mr. Chairman, I didn't put the schedule together, so just looking through it. To purchase 3 Explorers is $102,006. Purchase 1 Taurus, $32,995. Purchase 1 F-150, $42,900. That sums to $177,901. And if you work down, you have the vehicles plus the options at $149,611, plus the change order and wraps at $14,700. That equals about $164,000. So the difference between the total of almost 178 and the total of the vehicles plus options plus the change orders and the wrap of roughly 164, 165. So I'd have to go through this. I thought at one point in time we talked about leasing 2 Explorers and an F-150, and I provided that information to Mr. Scott of what I thought a lease payment would be for that.
Thank you, Mr. Single. Mr. Scott, you want to weigh in on that?
I got so many notes here. It was,
Mr. Salvatore, go ahead while Mr. Scott's digging.
While we're waiting for Mr. Scott to pull those numbers, I guess through the chair to Craig Single, how do we go from $58,000 last week to $177,000 this week? What am I missing there?
Through the chair to Councilman Salvatore, that's the purchase on the 177. The 58 was the lease, the 3-year lease number, 58,000 a year for 3 years. That wouldn't be enough. That wouldn't cover, this is 177,901. The lease payment would be over 60,000 every year for 3 years.
So even the 58,000 is no longer an accurate number?
That would be short,
That's short.
if we did all 5 vehicles.
And then you gave Councilman
I
Scott
got it.
2 plus the 150.
I got the numbers.
Okay. All right, God, thank you.
Mr. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, the 3 vehicles was 38.5. 4 vehicles were approximately 50,000, and 2 vehicles were approximately 27,000.
So 3 vehicles were 38,500. What were the 3
Approximately.
vehicles?
2 cars and a truck,
2 cars?
2
or-
Explorers
Okay.
and a truck. These were all based on 2 Explorers and a truck, and the truck price was high due to the fact that the state pricing hasn't come in on that yet.
Mr. Salvatore.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. Now, these vehicles are spec'd out to exactly how the police department wants them at that price?
Was that 2?
Whoever has the answer.
Mr. Single or Mr. Scott, do either of you know the answer to that?
Mr. Chairman, I would say they are.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stem.
Thank you, Council President. Through the chair to Councilman Scott. Is this a 5-year lease on the vehicles? Do you have the information on that?
No, this is per year, if I'm not mistaken. 3-year lease,
3-year
yeah.
lease?
Yeah, 3-year.
So it'd be more cost efficient for the city to lease.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the direction we should head in, council.
So a 3-year breakdown for 3 vehicles per year would be 38.5. And Greg, you said, Mr. Single, somewhere around, did you say 60-some thousand dollars on 5 of them, correct?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I'd say if we did all 5 at 177,901 to purchase them, the lease payment on that, divide that by 3, with the interest on it's gonna be over 60,000 a year. And when I say lease, we own them at the end of the lease. We don't turn them back. We do own them, once the final lease payment is made.
Thank you. Mr. Poindexter? No, Mr. Salvatore?
I would recommend that the council consider the 2 police cars and the F-150 and move that $1950 and $19,500 into the roads program for the purpose of conversation. And as we get down towards the end of the year, into the 4th quarter, if for some reason we have a windfall of money that we may be able to pick up another police car or 2 down the road, I think we could consider it. And now these cars won't be coming out of lease all at the same time. We'll stagger them, and I think that's more of a business sense move to make. Rather than have all these cars going bad all at the same time, we'll stagger them a little bit. So I would make that recommendation and yield the floor to my colleagues to see how they feel about it. Thank you.
Mr. Stem?
Through the chair to Councilman Selwood, I would support that.
Anyone else? Mr. Burgio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I also would. I think that that makes sense to do that staggering them like that, and hopefully we'll see how our funds are towards the end of the year, and we can maybe do more with that. So I'd be in favor of that also.
Thank you. Mr. Mancini?
I'll be quick. Through the chair to our finance director, Greg Single. Greg, last year, what did we do? We did the 8 and we leased them, right? On the 8.
Yeah, through the chair and Councilman Mancini, the last two purchases have been done through leases.
Okay, all right, no problem. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So if I'm hearing correctly, you're proposing 2 Explorers and an F-150 is what you guys are discussing at the moment, correct?
Correct.
And Greg, your total for those 3 vehicles currently would be 38.5?
Roughly.
Mr. Chairman, I would just round it to 40,000. Once we get the final costs, we'll confirm these final costs, and then we'll have to go get financing for them. So what I have now for the police, if I can just recap real quick, that'd be 40,000 for the lease of vehicles, 22,000 for the server, and then 18,000 for the vests and the bulletproof vest and the vest carrier. So that totals 80,000. And the original appropriation proposed was 150,000. So it sounds like 70,000 of that you want to go towards the roads program. If I'm
Yeah,
following correctly.
Yeah, I wanted to, do I have the floor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Well, I wanted to take these line item by line item, but, is everybody okay with the police car situation and the F-150?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm also fine with that 40 too, so like Greg had said, the 40 going to 40.
You mean rounding it?
Yeah, just going to 40. Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too.
Mr. Orcutt?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I do want to discuss this. We've purchased a lot of cars in the last few years. When we talk about staggering, is it something where maybe we can purchase 2 now, 1 Explorer, 1 pickup truck, and then stagger another Explorer, stagger another Explorer in a few more months? 5 months down the road, maybe even 5 more months down the road?
If that's addressed to me, yeah, that's certainly a possibility.
Mr. Mancini?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is that through us or is that through the administration?
Well, appropriation would come through council,
Council,
but now the order detail would probably have to be through the administration, I believe.
administration.
Mayor? Mr. Poindexter?
So I'd just like to propose that we put the $40,000, make the appropriation of $40,000 to purchase the 3 vehicles. I make that a motion.
Mr. Stem?
Thank you, Council President, through the chair to Councilman Poindexter. So that would be without appropriating any money to the roads in 545, that motion?
No, that'll just be left over still. That'll be still left over from what we're working out of. So just right now, 40,000 for the cars, for the police. The remainder would just stay in our amount that we're working out of still.
It would still stay in the capital, is what you're saying.
Yes. Until we had to make that other appropriation to the roads program.
Okay. Mr. Orcutt?
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, is there a motion that's been supported on the floor at this point
No.
for the 40,000 or no?
No, just a motion so far.
Okay.
All right,
So there's a motion on the floor to appropriate $40,000 for the police vehicles.
Mr. Chairman,
Mayor?
the police department asked for 150,000. We really cut a lot of things to get that 150,000. I just think the police need those cars, and I think that, to cut $70,000 out of their already cut budget is just a very big mistake. Safety is the primary issue in this city, and the police need to get where they're going. We need those cars for the police department. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Orcutt, can you get your hand up?
No, I already asked my question. I thought there might have been a motion
There,
with,
exactly.
from Mr. Salvatore and properly seconded by Mr. Stem. And the additional money that was left over is gonna go into Fund 545er.
And that was the initial, Michelle, what was that one? Can you reiterate that one for me?
Proposing 2 Explorers, 1 F-150. The additional funds will go into the roads program.
Okay, so a motion on the floor is to appropriate the funds for 2 Explorers and 1 F-150. The additional funds would go into 545, the roads program. Properly seconded. Discussion on that motion?
About the-
Seeing none, Michelle, please call the roll.
Salvatore?
Yes.
Stem?
Yes.
Mancini?
Yes.
Poindexter?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Bergio?
Yes.
Orcutt?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Mancini?
thank you. I know we have 5 minutes. We're going to go to council. We'll probably go out of regular order of business, but I did want to hear at Caucus, Councilman Salvatore's proposed plan with the safety buildings. I don't know if this is appropriate time or,
Not at this moment. Let's continue.
well,
with what we're
I'm
working.
asking if we could do that today on this caucus, is what I'm asking.
We have-
I didn't mean now. I just said we have 5 minutes. We'll probably be going into council, so I'm asking, can we do that when we come back to caucus later?
If we're, I haven't seen a motion to leave the caucus, but we'll discuss as far as that is, but let's stay where we're at in the capital improvement with the, in the economic development fund at the moment. Mr. Salvatore, you have your hand up?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion that we recess the caucus and go with, pardon? Oh, we'd have to go out of regular order of business. You wanna go to, if you wanna skip through,
Oh, never mind, go ahead. Whatever you're gonna do.
we'd have to go out of regular business in order to do that.
Oh, okay, I got it. All right, never mind.
Is there a reason for number 4 to be on tonight's council agenda?
I don't believe so, Mayor. Number 4, is there a reason for it to have to go to tonight's council agenda for approval or anything?
I think to get going, absolutely.
I'm sorry?
Yes. We need to put it on tonight.
Need to put it out there. Okay, then, I'll withdraw my first motion. My motion will be to go out of the regular order of business at this time, go to item number 4.
I'll support.
Motion on the floor to go out of the regular order of business and go to item number 4, properly supported. Michelle, please call the roll on the motion.
Salvatore?
Yes?
Mancini?
Yes.
Poindexter?
Yes.
Stem?
Yes.
Orcutt?
Yes.
Bergio?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Motion is approved. We will move to item number 4, an ordinance authorizing the consulting engineer to prepare plans, specifications, and bid documents, and the mayor to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for the Smith Road resurfacing project from Snow Road to Elm and declaring an emergency, introduced by Mayor Gamella per Council President Vecchio. Discussion, anyone?
Mr. Chairman,
Mayor?
thank you very much. I think anyone who goes down Smith Road can see it's definitely in need of work. And what this will do is cover from Snow Road all the way down to Elm. That stretch of road really needs work. It's a major road, and the best part is we will get funding, to help us out here. So in the neighborhood of about $560,000. So I would appreciate, I think the residents would appreciate if we move ahead on this. And with that, I'll move to the engineer to see if he has anything to add, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Piatek?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the ordinance that would authorize us to basically, take the project from where it's at now is just, conceptual, with some of the discussions that we've had with ODOT and NOACA, and take it through the design and bid phase, and we include the submittals to NOACA and to ODOT for their approval. So, that's it. That's the project.
Thank you. Mr. Bergio?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ed, to the chair, to Ed Piatek. Are we extending this a little bit more than the original plan as far as the area? Or is this the same exact area that we talked about in the past?
This is the same project that we've had from the start. It's just the asphalt section that would start just south of the Elm intersection where the concrete ends, and then take us to the Snow Road intersection, basically where the resurfacing project of Snow terminated this past year. So
Okay, it was,
that would be the limits.
okay, it wasn't originally from Hummel to Elm? Or there was some snow from the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay,
it
well,
was these were always the limits.
okay. Well, I'm glad that really does need it for sure. That road is terrible, and people that I've talked to, they're awaiting for it to happen. Now, will this, if this is approved, will this happen this year, or will this be next year?
It would happen next year. It's a 2019 project.
2019.
Construction would go in 2019. My intent would be to sell it, early in the year, early in 2019, so that we would, try and secure the best funding and pricing from contractors that we could.
Should we have a chance to get this? This is something that we will get, or we have to put in for it to hope that we qualify?
The funding?
Mm-hmm.
The funding's been, it was from an old earmark from actually Aerospace Parkway. And if you remember, we council had approved an application to NOACA to apply for those funds to be directed towards this project. That legislation was approved, the application was submitted, and it's through in the process with NOACA of getting funded. So I have all indications that this project will move forward.
Sounds good news there. Hopefully, in the years to come, we can continue moving southward and Smith Road and do even more. But this is a good start. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bergio. Mr. Salvatore?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One quick question through the chair to the engineer. The $560,953, is that the total cost of the project, or that's just their contribution from the grant?
That's the money that's available through the federal earmark that was left over from Aerospace Parkway. The overall project is estimated at 1.6 million, or somewhere around 1.55, 1.6 million.
Now, is this the same dollars that we've been talking about as far as the 2019 roads program that we're looking for?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion placed on tonight's council agenda.
Support.
Beat me.
Motion to place on tonight's council agenda, properly supported. Discussion on the motion? Seeing none. Michelle, please call the roll.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Mancini,
Yes.
Poindexter.
Yes.
All right, so ordinance number 11021-2018 will show under letter M on tonight's council agenda. Mr. Salvatore?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to recess the caucus and go right to the council meeting.
Point of clarification,
Sure.
if we're going to go, my legislation, we can do that in 1 minute. We could, I'm going to.
You want it on tonight's agenda?
Well, yeah, but we could be done with this meeting if you just give me a minute.
What? Has to go on?
Are you killing this?
Yes.
You don't have, doesn't have to go on tonight's council agenda. It doesn't have a number, it never appeared.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
If you're killing it, it doesn't have to go. There's no number assigned.
he wouldn't kill it in committee.
Okay, no problem. All right, so we don't have to worry about it.
There's a motion on the floor to suspend the caucus meeting,
I'll support that.
properly supported. Discussion. Seeing none, Michelle, please call the roll on suspension.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Mancini,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Motion is approved. We will reconvene after the council meeting. I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion so made.
Motion to adjourn properly supported. Michelle, please call the roll.
Mancini,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Motion is approved. The caucus meeting is now currently adjourned.
Let's go. I'll do the best I can.
Good evening. Welcome to the Tuesday, April 17, 2018 council meeting for the city of Brook Park. Michelle, please call the roll of members.
Scott,
Here.
Bergio,
Here.
Orcutt,
Here.
Stem,
Here.
Mancini,
Here.
Poindexter,
Here.
Salvatore.
Here.
If everyone would, please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to letter C, approval of minutes of preceding meetings. First one is a special council meeting held on March 27th, 2018.
Motion to approve those special council meeting minutes from March 27th.
Support.
Motion to approve, properly supported. Discussion? Seeing none, Michelle, please call the roll.
Mancini,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Perugino,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
March 27th meeting, or meeting minutes are approved. Item number 2, special council meeting minutes held on March 28th, 2018.
Motion to approve is presented.
Support.
Motion to approve, properly supported. Discussion? Seeing none, Michelle, please call the roll.
Perugino,
Yes.
Mancini,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Orcutt.
Yes.
Those minutes have been approved. Mr. Stem?
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to make a motion to go to regular business and move the letter G, introduction of resolutions and accommodations.
I'll
Support.
support that.
Motion to go out of the regular order of business, moving to letter G, properly supported. Discussion? Seeing none, Michelle, please call the roll.
Stem,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Perugino,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Mancini,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Salvatore.
Yes.
Motion is approved. We're now at letter G, introduction of resolutions of commendation. First one is proclamation honoring the 2018 first and second grade co-ed basketball league champion Cavs. Mayor Gamella, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. We're going to give out the proclamations for the team, the Cavs, so if you come on down and line up, and we'll have them for you. Cavs, come on up.
Whereas the team is to be congratulated for their outstanding season, and whereas the team and coaches are worthy of recognition for their efforts. Now therefore, I, Michael D. Gamella, Mayor of the City of Brook Park, Ohio, do hereby call upon the citizens of this community to acknowledge and extend congratulations to the team on behalf of the administration, City Council, on behalf of the administration and City Council of the City of Brook Park. As your name is called, please step forward to the mayor. Tiana Akanuchi? What? Inkaway. Okay, sorry. What? Trey Anthony? Andre? Never mind. Lucas Barna? Lucas Barna? Jacob Coleman, Sidney Cook, Giovanni Marrero, Yandel Perez, Cameron Swanser, that's all I have, Mayor.
That completes the first, second grade co-ed basketball. Good job, ladies and gentlemen. Second proclamation we have, proclamation honoring the 2018 third and fourth grade boys basketball league champion Cavs. Third
Team,
and fourth grade, step forward.
please. whereas the team is to be congratulated for their outstanding season. Yes. Sure.
I would like Councilman Orcutt, since he was
Okay.
coach on this team, to please pass these out.
Okay. Whereas the team is to be congratulated for their outstanding season, and whereas the team and coaches are worthy of recognition for their efforts. Now therefore, I, Michael D. Gamella, Mayor of the City of Brook Park, Ohio, do hereby call upon the citizens of this community to acknowledge and extend congratulations to the team on behalf of the administration and City Council of the City of Brook Park. When your name is called, please step forward to Mr. Orcutt. Cooper Booth. Jonas Haydock. Jackson Leoberth. Creighton Lubanovich. Noah Mesa. Anton Poole. Anthony Presley. Nathan Speck. Dylan Stiles.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Picture taking time. Pictures.
Next one is a proclamation honoring the 5th and 6th grade boys basketball league champion Cavs.
And Michelle, if I may, Councilman Mancini, the coach.
Will the team please step forward? Whereas the team is to be congratulated for their outstanding season, and whereas the team and coaches are worthy of recognition for their efforts. Now therefore, I, Michael D. Gamella, Mayor of the City of Brook Park, Ohio, do hereby call upon the citizens of this community to acknowledge and extend congratulations to the team on behalf of the administration and City Council of the City of Brook Park. As your name is called, please step forward to Coach Mancini. Jason Blunt? No. Danny Bowser? Alex Carroll? Braylon Dulach? Austin LaForce? Logan McCluskey? Noah Petrie? Keenan Williams? Connor McCluskey? That's all I have, Jimmy.
Congratulations, gentlemen. I'd like to congratulate all three teams for a tough season and obviously well-deserved outcomes. Great job.
Well, parents, coaches, thank you very much, and players, see you next year. Thank you.
Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion to go back to the regular order of business.
So moved.
So made. So made.
Hang on, we're missing Councilman Mancini.
Support.
Motion on the floor to go back to the regular order of business properly supported. Michelle, please call the roll.
Salvatore?
Yes.
Stem?
Yes.
Poindexter?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Bergio?
Yes.
Orcutt?
Yes.
Mancini?
Motion is approved. We're back to letter D.
My coaches, my great coaches, what would I be without them?
Back to the regular order of business, letter D, reports of standing committees. Aviation and Environmental Committee, Mr. Poindexter.
Thank you, Chairman. Nothing new to report today. Thanks.
Thank you. Finance Committee, Councilman Scott.
There's nothing on agenda. Board of Controls met today. There were 24 items on the agenda, and they were all signed off. That's all I
Thank
got.
you. Legislative Committee, Councilman Mancini.
Nothing today, Mr. Chairman. I will have some things coming, and if anybody needs anything out of my committee, please forward and let me know. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation Committee, Councilman Salvatore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a few brief announcements to make. Compliments go out to Joan Corrigan, the Brook Park Senior Director, on a very successful tea and fashion show this past weekend. In fact, I had a chance to stop in there, along with Councilman Mancini, and it really was very successful. It's easy to say when you're present. To tell you how great it was packed. There was a tremendous turnout, and it was very successful. The Cleveland Area Golden Gloves qualifying tournament returns to Brook Park this coming weekend. This is the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. It begins Friday night at 7 p.m. at the Rec Center, so make sure, if you're a boxing fan, make sure you get there, because it's usually a very good event. And looking ahead to the Best of Brook Park, which will be Thursday, May 3rd, at the Ford UAW Hall, 1250. And that is always a huge success as well. And if there are any tickets available, I would certainly try to get one, because you'll really enjoy yourself. And then the next Recreation Commission meeting is this Thursday, April 19th at 7 p.m. Other than that, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Salvatore. Planning Committee, Councilman Bergio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also, Mr. Salvatore, I do have tickets available, so if you know anybody who wants to go, I have plenty of tickets for that.
How
That's
many,
a Brook Park.
how many do you have?
I can have 10.
So you didn't sell any yet.
I'll sell them fast, though. They're going to be going fast.
I'll give you a hand. I'll get rid of some of those for you.
Okay, sounds good. Planning Committee has not had a meeting since my last report, but we do have legislation on tonight's agenda.
Thank you. Safety Committee, Councilman Stem.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one announcement, just another reminder that next Monday, April 23rd at 7 p.m., a human trafficking meeting at the Brook Park Library, sponsored by the Brook Park Neighborhood Watch, to raise awareness and informational presentations. I encourage everybody to attend. Thank you. That's the end of my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Stem. Service Committee, Councilman Orcutt.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It's been busy over there in the service department, to say the least. The street cleaner and Vector have been out for approximately 4 weeks, together working in tandem, cleaning up all the broken asphalt and removing all debris from the catch basins. Hot patch has started, and all the water breaks from this winter have been completed. They have one dig job that they made last week at a residence, and they have 2 scheduled for next week for broken pipes on the storm and sanitary. The service department hosted and it was very heavily attended, the Shred It Days on April 14th, and over 8 tons of paper was shredded. The next scheduled Shred It Day will be for October 13th, and there was a typo on the literature that was sent out to everybody's home, so just make sure that you mark your calendars on that. That'll be for October 13th for the next Shred It Days. Also, they've been prepping fields, believe it or not, even though it was snowing outside, and they've gotten 2 high school games in. People needed to reschedule. They came here to Brook Park because our fields were ready, thanks to our crews. And just a note to everybody, because I know we all get a lot of phone calls to the other council members, the hot patch can only be done when it's not raining outside. It has to be ideal temperatures outside and dry. And just again, just a big thank you to the service department for all their hard work and dedication to the city. They're extremely understaffed, and I just wanted to say that those guys are doing a great job. Some of them are in the audience tonight, so thank you for those that are here. Appreciate it very much. That completes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman Orcutt. Board of Zoning Appeals, Councilman Scott.
Thank you, sir. The Board of Zoning, there's nothing, we haven't met since beginning of the month, So there's nothing on there, but if I may, I talked to Mr. Matt Brackman with the Little Free Pantry, and he's looking at that being up and going by the end of May. So that's his projection.
Thank you, Councilman Scott. Moving on to letter E, reports of special committees. Southwest General Health Center, trustee Salvatore.
Thanks again, Mr. Chairman. We haven't had a meeting since my last report, but I do have 3 meetings coming up over the next couple of weeks. I have a meeting with my own committee, which will be held on May 7th, and that's to discuss officer appointments and any vacancies on any of the board seats. I have another meeting coming up on May 15th. It's a CEO Oversight Committee. That'll be held at the corporate conference room. And then, of course, the regularly scheduled board meeting. I'll keep council informed as these meetings come to conclusion. I'll definitely bring the reports back to council. And I just wanted to share just one quick thing about the partnership program that we're working on. It hasn't been finalized yet, but what I'm going to suggest to the hospital and sit down with the mayor and with the police department and the fire department is what I'd like to see the program be for this year would be a mock evacuation plan set up at the rec center. And with everything moving into the rec center, I think it'll be very, very important for us to be on top of that. We're going to have a lot of things going on over there, and as we move closer into the completion of the moving into that building, I'm hoping that we can get this down to where we do it on a very busy day when we have the most participation going on over there. But I will definitely keep you informed as this moves forward. And I would just like to give a nice compliment to Councilman Scott with the town hall meeting that we're working diligently with the Neighborhood Watch, and that Southwest has agreed to provide one of the speakers from the behavioral health along with the Brook Park Police Department and Common Pleas of Court. And I really think that we did this last year, and Rich Scott was very instrumental in putting that together then, and he's been very instrumental in keeping it alive. So I wanted to say thank you, Mr. Scott, for hanging in there and keeping this alive, because it's very important. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That completes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Salvatore. Berea Board of Education Committee, we're going to go to Mr. Poindexter. Ms. McDonald is ill tonight. Mr. Poindexter, you have the report.
Yes, thank you, Council President. Just a couple dates to let the public know about. The Berea Schools will be hosting a community forum to update the community on progress of the construction projects. April 23rd at Middleburg Heights Junior High in the cafeteria at 7 p.m. April 24th at the Ford cafeteria, also at 7 p.m. And April 25th at Berea Mid-Park High School in the cafeteria at 7 p.m. All 3 of those events will be the same presentation, just the questions and the comments might be different. If you want to go to all 3 or just one of the 3, you'll get the same information minus the questions. Also, Brook Park Safety Town will be held June 18th through the 22nd, 8:30 to 11:30. July 16th through 20th, 8:30 to 11:30, and August 6th through 10th, 8:30 to 11:30. Oklahoma will be performed April 20th through the 22nd, and then kindergarten information night will be April 24th at 7 p.m. That's for all 3 buildings, and it's a parent-only event. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Poindexter. Moving on to letter F, reports of boards and commissions. We don't have any this evening. Letter G's already been taken care of. Letter H, reports and communications from the mayor. Mayor Gamella.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rick, to your point about the evacuation over at the rec center and that, we had a staff meeting today. We have them every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. The chief was present, and we're going to be doing just that, Rick. So great minds think alike, and that we're going to be doing that over there at the rec when the new city hall gets in. So the active drill for active shooters, things of that nature, and evacuation. So I appreciate your comments. Also, we had a lot of rain over the past, few days, and I want to say our service department did an outstanding job. They've been out there jetting lines. You've seen the street sweeper out there, weather permitting. This is all part of the preventive maintenance program to keep the lines clean. People ask, well, why do we sweep the streets? The reason is so the debris doesn't get into catch basins, which gets into pipes, which blocks things up. So it's very important. It's not just we're making the streets look pretty. We're making sure nothing gets in those catch basins and keep them open and flowing. As long as we can do that, we're going to be fine. With all the rain, we had a few calls, and I won't impede on Randy's report, but not as many as you may think. So what we're doing is working, and again, this administration is very big on preventive maintenance, taking care of issues before they become problems. The Recreation Center project is moving along. As you know, I would like to get the pool reopened. We're going to be looking at that down the road. But again, we hope to be in there and have a lot of those things done within the next month or two. City Hall will be moving in to the Recreation Center, and right now we're scheduled for mid-May. Whether that date will hold up or not, I don't know, but right now it's mid-May. And finally, the hot patch. Everybody complains about the streets. I can understand they're bad all over, and I mean all over northeastern Ohio. And what we need is federal funding from the federal government. The gentleman in office ran on, he was going to fix the infrastructure. I hope he was serious about that, and we definitely need it, not just here, but all over the United States. Our roads, our bridges, everything, it's just appalling. And the state has taken all the local monies where we really don't have the money we used to have to fix those roads and bridges and things of that nature. So again, we need help from the federal government. When you look at your paycheck, they take out a little bit for Brook Park, pretty fair amount for the state, but man, they really take out a good hit from the federal government, so it'd be nice to get some of that money back. And again, we've been talking with our federal officials to help us do just that. So finally, Mr. Chairman, that is all I have, but next year, right now, we have 3 major road programs scheduled for next year, and it's going to be $4.3 million we're going to be putting in the roads next year. And out of that, almost over 40% of that will be funding from local various agencies. So the engineers worked very diligently on that. I appreciate his efforts, along with the service director. And again, we'll be putting in $4.3 million in roads. Those 3 roads are comprised of Sheldon Road, Smith Road, and that's on tonight's agenda. And that'll be Smith Road from Snow Road down to Elm. And finally, the third one is Holland Road, right over here by the police station, and from Angle all the way over to, I believe it's Fry. So those are 3 major projects. If you look at that area over there by Holland Road, it really needs it. And so we're going to get there. So I just want to let you know, better times are coming. We're working on it. And once the weather breaks, we'll be out there hot patching to fix some of these chuck holes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor. Questions? Mr. Salvatore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair to the mayor. Mayor, thanks for those comments on what you said. You had a meeting today. Were you planning on wanting the hospital involved in this? You want me to keep pursuing that project, or do you want to do it without the hospital?
Rick, which project is that?
The evacuation plan and the mock drill.
Well, that'll be just for our recreation center. If the hospital would like to participate, I don't know what scope the police chief had in mind, so you and I can sit down with him. We've had some good conversations, and we'll just go from there.
Okay. And if I may continue, Mr. Chairman, through the chair to the mayor. Mayor, I had an opportunity to attend the Brook Park Civil Service Commission meeting this week, or actually last week, and they were talking about rule changes and suggestions. I'd gone there for the purpose of talking about the lateral transfers that is now a possibility that allow police officers from other departments with tremendous amount of experience to be able to transfer to other departments. And Middlebrook Heights is working on it, and in fact, they're already starting to look at applications. And I know you and I had a brief conversation on it. I was just wondering if you've had a chance to really take a good look at that and would consider approaching the commission to ask them to also consider it for a potential rule change for this year. There's a lot of officers out there that are looking to transfer. They're bringing a tremendous amount of experience from gang units to drug units, to homicide, to, you name it, they're out there, and then when we live in a climate that we live in today, and we see we're losing a lot of tremendous talent that we have as they get closer to retirement. I think it should be prudent for us to take a good hard look at it. I'm not saying we do it, but I think it's something that should be on the table as an option. And I'm hoping that you would embrace that and help put that together.
For the public's information, what Councilman Salvatore is talking about are taking, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, taking police officers from other communities who would work part-time in our community and come here. This way we don't have to pay for the academy, the training, things of that nature. I've had a discussion with the police chief about that. We're talking about that. That does create some issues as far as seniority goes, things of that nature, promotions. We would have to work through that with the union. But yes, Rick, I have talked with the police chief about that on 2 occasions already.
Well, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, if I may, to the mayor, I don't really think it has that an adverse effect on seniority, because when they come to Brook Park or wherever they come from they don't bring their seniority. They start day one with the new city. So, I mean, it's a big step for someone to say, I'm gonna give up 6 or 7 or 10 or 15 years, and I wanna come to Brook Park, and I'm gonna start at the ground level. So that's where they start. And if they're a sergeant or lieutenant or captain, they wouldn't come over with that rank, they would come over as a patrolman. So that's just, if that was one of the issues that you were concerned with, I think that's been addressed. But I would really love to have some, continue the dialogue with you on this, because I really think it's really something that we should look at. Thank you.
You're welcome. And again, I have talked with the police chief about it, and we'll continue to have those discussions. And Rick, I'll include you in them as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Orcutt.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mayor, I had a question about about something in Ward 3. That's the Howard Johnson Hotel. Just wanted to know what the plans were. I see that it's open right now, and I know that there was some violations that they had to clean up. What's the status of that hotel and some of the violations and the siding versus the stucco?
You're correct. The hotel is open. It's half open. The west wing is open. It's passed our building department, been certified. It's safe. It's clean. No issues. Half of it is open. The reason you see the 2 different colors in it, it's the other half that's not open that they're still currently working on. Eventually, it's all going to be one color. But again, they've got some issues there that they're going to have to address. And I think those issues would be better off with you and I talk with the building department off camera to discuss, so we don't get any legal problems. But again, the hotel is half open, and they do plan on renovating it to open it fully. We are doing everything we can do to make certain that they comply with all our ordinances, rules, regulations, and things of that nature.
Okay, I would like to talk to you about that and work with the building department on that, make sure that we have a strict timeline for that. Just because that's our welcoming, that I had to work out of town, and I was traveling from southern Ohio, and I'm coming up 71. When I exited 71, that's the very first building I look at when I come into Brook Park, and you have a brown stucco building with white half of it and white siding on the other half, and their signs are all out of whack a little bit. So I would like to work with you on that and make sure that we have a timeline on that, because quite frankly, I did have some people call me, and I even had some emails come in. One email said that the residents were unhappy to live in Brook Park because of that business. So just wanted to put that out there. And then the other thing was there any word back? I know that we were working, and your office sent a letter out to the owner of BP gas station. Have we heard back from them?
No.
Okay.
No.
And is there any-
And Councilman, not to cut you short, but we have someone looking at that location right now.
Perfect. And the Bally's, is there any plans for Bally's and cleaning up that building? I know that I'd seen that some of the material on the side had fell off, and they did have people working over there. Are there plans for that to be
Yes.
cleaned up
Yes,
as well? Okay, thank you very much. That's all I had, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Orcutt. Mr. Stem.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the chair, to the mayor. With the evacuation drill at the rec center, do we plan on doing a tabletop exercise first to plan the event out before we go live?
Well, absolutely. It'll be well planned out, Greg. And the chief brought it up today at the staff, and he would like to do that. Since we're gonna have the city hall over there, the court over there, the console over there, and then we still have bridges in the basement. So we thought it would just be a very prudent idea to have an evacuation drill, an active shooter drill, and it will be totally planned out. It's just not going to be a spur-of-the-moment thing. And again, it was just brought up today by the chief in the staff meeting this morning.
Thank you, Mayor. And if possible, I'd like to be invited to that if they're accepting guests.
That'd be fine.
And then one other comment, I'm not sure, Chief Foster maybe will answer it better regarding lateral transfers. It's my understanding when an officer does a lateral transfer, I think they just carry over their seniority in police and fire pension, not on the new department they go to. So that's my understanding, but the chief could probably answer that better.
Well, no, those are some of the things we have to look at. The seniority issue, obviously, coming in, that they would have to, as Councilman Salvatore said, take ground floor seniority here in the city of Brook Park. I think it'd be very unfair for them to come in and say if they had 20 years in Cleveland and be above one of our officers who's been here, 18 years, as far as promotions, things of that nature, vacations. But we're looking at every single thing we can, and we're going to continue to.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Mancini.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair to the mayor. Mayor, I got a few things, and so if we have a minute, I want to go over a few things that obviously.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, the weather hasn't cleared the way we like it, but that doesn't stop residents from, as Mr. Councilman Orcutt said, emails coming, phone calls coming, going out in public and seeing a lot of people. The first one I wanted to cover was, obviously the weather isn't great, but the speeding. I know it right now we don't have a safety director, but I'm hearing a lot of residents starting with the speeding. Hearing many things, but speeding's one starting to move up the chart a little bit. So, I know our police force, all our safety forces and our service garage do a great job. But that's one thing that's starting to hit the radar a little bit. On the hotel that Councilman Orcutt was talking about, he's right. When you said the building department went in there and said it was okay, did we get anything from the police chief, fire department? They went in there also and gave the okay?
Oh, the building would not have been half open, and by the way, it opened up late last year unless they had everything in order.
Okay.
I mean, this wasn't a problem that just started today. It's been a festering problem. It's been an ongoing problem, and we're going to address it. And we're going to work with them.
Well, we hope they work
And we
with
want to
us.
make it look nice.
Right, we hope they work
But
with
again,
us
they have
also.
rights. They have property rights, and we've got to respect those rights, and we will.
They do, but they also have to play by the rules that the city puts forward also. And I think a little bit at one point got a little bit away from us, and I think what Councilman Orcutt's saying, there's a lot of residents there that live in that area. They see signs blowing, they see certain things happening there. And I'm not just putting it on that hotel, but they had the problem, so that's where we want to address, and we're getting some emails on that. On the other thing, I discussed with Councilman Salvatore that if there's any way, maybe when the economic developer gives his report, if there's any way we could get a quick one from Brewer Garrett also on any type of update on the rec center going. I know we're getting sort of to the finish of this, but is there any way maybe at a caucus meeting when we don't have a lot of on the agenda, Council President, that we could get Brewer Garrett to come and give us a little update?
I'd be happy to do that, Councilman.
Okay, because maybe answer a lot of questions that the residents might.
And to address your other question on speeding and that, we are reinstituting the STOP program. Give the city a little bit more special attention, so.
Okay, I know the STOP program a lot covers Snow Road, 237, 71, 480, but.
Well, it also
just
covers, the interior of the city as well.
We hope so.
So,
Okay,
it
thank
does.
you. And I guess I could finish this on this. And it's good to hear that BP gas station, things are being looked at over at Bally's too, and hopefully our economic director is doing a great job, and he's going to give us a good report and some good news on some of that. But I seen this past week over in Ohio City that one of our good cities, one of the auto industries, pulling out 1,500 jobs. And that's definitely the one thing we don't want at the Ford plant. So I know you're fighting over there with them, and you're doing a great job trying to bring things here. I'm just hoping we don't do, I hope we get some addition, not some subtraction. We haven't heard anything in that direction, have we?
Well,
Put you on the spot.
you're going to be sorry you asked, Jim. But I met the finance director, and the deputy finance director went over to Ford, probably back in January. And we met with Ford. We told them about our budgetary issues and, you know, how we needed them to cooperate with us more fully, letting us know what they were going to do. At that time, the plant manager stated that what they were going to have were down weeks. Down a week, up a week, down a week, up a week, down a week, up a week. After I saw what happened in Lordstown, where they may lay off up to 1,500 people, I called him back and I said, you know, are we still going with the up, down a week? And he said, well, actually, it's funny you called because I was going to call you later today. They've decided they're going to take the midnight shift off on the four-cylinder. So what that means is 200 jobs will be laid off at Ford. Now, these 200 jobs were something we were expecting. In other words, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. It's just a different way to do it to get to their numbers at the end of the year. So I guess what I'm saying is it's something we had budgeted, it's something we expected, and that's one thing you'll see from this administration is clarity. I talk with businesses, I meet with businesses as much as I possibly can, and find out what their long-range plans are so that we can budget, and also so that we can help them. Like, we had Eaton Corporation leave the West End, and by the time we spoke with them, you know, that was something way back the middle of last year when they had space over in their Beechwood headquarters. They decided to pull people out of the West End and move them over there. There was absolutely nothing we could do. It wasn't because they didn't like Brook Park. It's just they had space open over there in Beechwood, and that's where they're going to bring their people. They're going to utilize their assets as well. So these are the things, though, that we try to keep on top of. We're having an executive session later today. We've got a lot of people with interest in this city. We market this city very aggressively.
We do.
We're going to continue to do that, and we're going to be okay.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the answers. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mancini. Mr. Bergio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To chime in on Mr. Mancini's issue of speeding, I wanted to actually offer my accolades to our safety forces. Last Saturday afternoon, I just got out of my car, I was parked in the driveway, and I went into the house. As soon as I shut the door, I heard a loud bang, and I knew that there was an accident somewhere. I looked outside, and a car actually came down from Hardin all the way down, and he smashed into a tree, crossed all the lawns, and it totaled the car. And so I ran back in the house, and I called 911. The police were there like within 2 minutes, and so the safety department really worked together on that issue, and it just made me proud to see how they worked together on that. But my car was hit in the driveway just 20 seconds after I got in the house, so somebody was watching over me. But the speeding needs to be addressed, but mainly my car can be fixed, and I'm okay. But it just made me proud to see how everybody worked together on that. The police did a fine job there, and then they called the paramedics and so forth. And the young man was hurt badly, but I believe he's surviving. But you never know from 1 minute to the next. But the bottom line is safety forces really worked well together, and it made me proud of the way they handled it, and they were just very, very professional. So would you pass it on to the police chief? I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Councilman. I will. I will pass it along. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Mr. Bergio. Mr. Salvatore.
Thanks again, Mr. Chairman, to the chair, to the mayor. Mayor, just to follow up on Councilman Mancini's discussion with you about having Brewer Garrett come to another council meeting, could we count on that? Could we plan on that for next Tuesday?
Well, I don't make Brewer Garrett's schedule, but we'll call them and we'll see if they can get here.
I appreciate it. Would we be able to have the project manager present as well?
Rick, if you like, I'll make that request.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mayor, to follow up, and I could, at that same time, could we have the Economic Development Director give his report? Will it be ready at that point?
He was scheduled to do that anyway.
Okay. And then additionally, the unfortunate shutdown of the third shift at Ford, do we know when that's going to take place?
That is a third shift at a four-cylinder line only. They run two different engines over there, the six-cylinder to four. Right. That's the four-cylinder, only 200 people. And again, they were going to do it anyway. It's going to start being effective around a June 1st time frame, give or take. But again, we had it figured into the budget.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, we'll move on to letter I. Reports and communications from departments, commissions, and other public officials. We'll start with our engineer, Mr. Piatek.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just two quick items tonight. The landscaping from the projects that we completed last year, primarily Fry. We didn't really finish Sylvia between Fry and Smith, Calvin, Middlebrook, Brookdale. Those streets will be looked at here as soon as spring comes. I know, but the calendar says it's here, but we'll be out looking at those landscaping in any of the areas that are low. Contractor will be back, and actually I've had conversations with them this week, and they'll be back planning right now sometime next week. So we will be touching up the landscaping and completing the landscaping on Sylvia. I know there's been a lot of talk of the rain over the weekend. Just for the numbers, we have a rain gauge over at City Hall, and on Saturday the rain gauge read 0.22 inches of rain. On Sunday it read 2.5 inches of rain, and on Monday it read 0.19 inches of rain. So over the 3 days we got a little under 3 inches of rain, with most of it coming on Sunday. With that being said, the sewer district has requested that we send in, any of the calls that we received in any of the areas that were noted in having, flooding or standing water, so that they can incorporate that information, because they currently have some studies going on now, and they'll take that information and incorporate it into their study. So my intent is by the end of the week to request that information from the service department and forward that on to them. So that's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Piatek. Moving on, we will go to Mr. Gardner, our service director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of things. Plow damage from the winter's plow trucks on residential streets. We should start repairing those tree lawns and areas next week. Monday, I think we'll start. If you feel you have any damage, please contact the service department at 216-433-7192 and give us your address. We'll certainly address anything that's plow truck related. Asphalt, it's been talked about several times. We're working diligently at that. We're using more cold patch, unfortunately, to take care of some bigger holes, trying to make them safe, safety concerns in the mains and secondaries. As the weather permits, there's one plant open in Bedford Heights, so we are driving out there to get our hot patch. I think we've only gotten 4 or 5 loads. We completed, I think, 21 water break overlays with the bulk of that. So we're working at it. Sweeper and Vector's been talked about. Kennedy Pavilion. Because of the weather, we've been reluctant to turn the water on at our parks and playgrounds. Next week, we'll start addressing that. Hopefully it doesn't freeze. Kennedy Pavilion will be available to rent after next week. I think our first rental is the 28th of April. To relate back a little bit on this weekend's weather, the service department Sunday and Monday answered a total of 21 sewer calls. Some water in basements, not a lot to my recollection. Most of them are sanitary related with some infiltration of groundwater. We addressed all those, and as Ed had stipulated, we're going to report all these issues to the sewer district, and they'll plot some kind of course. There was no certain area that flooded. I hate to use that word. Just some random calls.
We hate to hear that word.
I know, we all do. Abrams Creek certainly went over its banks and covered up Sheldon Road. Just probably something from the safety department. I live over there. I hate to see people driving in that water. those roads were barricaded off, road closed signs were all put up by both cities, yet people insist on driving through that. Not a good thing. It seems like every year we're pulling a car out of there, and I don't believe anybody's ever been hurt, but there's gonna be a first time, and it'll be a bad one. I believe that'll conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garner. Moving on to Law Director, Ms. Horvath.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I will be updating our case list of pending civil litigation for the next meeting. And other than that, I have no further report. Thank you.
Thank you. Rec Director, Mr. Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to begin with, just some thanks to go out again to all the coaches and kids who played on the ball teams this winter, and also to the supportive parents that were in attendance each and every week. Also, thanks go out to Joan Corrigan and her senior team, the fashion show, but to all those folks, I think she had about 75 gifts and a lot of sponsors. Again, many of the council representatives were all very giving, and but it was a very successful event. I want to let everybody know that this week letters will go out and applications to all the vendors and community groups who hope to participate this year in the Home Days event. And again, just a reminder, I know Councilman Salvatore had mentioned earlier that May 3rd, the Best of Brook Park over at the UAW Hall at Ford. And the next day, we have a real wrestling group that will be there, and a number of things where the facility is being rented out. We have a wrestling group which will be in here 3 times this year. There will be another boxing show later in the year, a couple martial arts events. So on top of a lot of basketball and soccer people who are renting the facility. So it's going to continue to be very busy, which is a great thing. And just to let everybody know, regarding the project over at the center, the Whirlpool repairs, because of Board of Control this evening, we should get started on that tomorrow. And I'll know tomorrow about how long that repair will take. Hopefully it will be in a very short window. And we'll get the Whirlpool sauna and steam room and locker rooms back open to the public. And that's all that I have.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott. We'll move to the Finance Director, Mr. Single.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Monthly reports for March have been distributed. As always, if there are any questions, please let me know. And that concludes my report tonight.
Thank you. Questions for any of the directors? Mr. Bergio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This one is, maybe Randy can answer my question, maybe Ed Piatek too, but I'll start with Randy. As far as the flooding issue, I know that Abram overflowed its bank, and I know it's a low area there, and it doesn't take much for that to happen there, but have we dredged that in the last so many years? I think we have done some maintenance to that. Maybe, Ed, you know? And does it need it, maybe?
Does it need it? I guess to answer your first part of your question, we did some ditch cleaning further downstream, closer to Eastland Road. I want to say maybe 2005, 2006. So it's been a while since we've done any type of cleaning over there. I'm not certain that cleaning is, at least in that area, is going to prove to be of any benefit. I've had discussions with the sewer district as far as coming up with some type of plan to probably the most logical thing to do would be to raise the road up as opposed to try to lower the water. We bring the road up, and that's been in discussion with the sewer district, and they're doing a master plan of the Abram Creek area and the Rocky River, that watershed, which Abram Creek is a tributary to, and I would suspect that project would fall out of that study. So I'm not sure when that study's scheduled to be complete, but I believe it's within the next 8 to 12 months that project will be wrapped up, or that study will be wrapped up, and there'd be some recommendations that come out of that.
Okay, thank you. Also, Randy, I got one complaint of a flooded basement. I'm surprised I didn't get more phone calls on that. But Is it possible that some of these flooded basements could be due to some of the sewers that need to be maintained or vacuum truck to take out some of the debris there? Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. Without looking and knowing, people are generic about sewers, and actually it's sewers and sanitary. A lot of the calls I had were sanitary issues. They're again brought on by infiltration of stormwater into their sanitary line. For one reason or another, it's gonna come up through their laundry tub drain in the floor. There was some basement wall seepage we had. We had water come up and then receded. There again, it's a fluctuation in the stormwater getting into the sanitary lines. Some of the calls certainly showed historically we've been there and we've made recommendations to people about repairing their lines, and there again, for some reason or not, they've chosen not to. There's going to be some things looked at closer.
Okay.
I've got one of the houses that we called and responded to has 56 calls.
Wow.
Certainly, it's an extended period of time, but we've done our diligence there. We've cambered the line. We've done a dig job there and repaired their lines. They have issues towards their house, which is the homeowner's responsibility. We don't make this stuff up. That is a fact. So those are the city's responsibility is at the T's. So yes, the answer could be yes, but more than likely, it's just infiltration into a line, which shows there possibly could be a problem.
Okay, I'll in that case, I'll send a memo to the mayor and give him the address. Maybe you can look at it and assess, and maybe you can help this
Absolutely.
senior out. Okay, thank you so much. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Mancini?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to kind of do a round table here very quick. First off, Ed, our engineer, I want to thank you for the answers that you gave me Monday morning pertaining to over there on Middlebrook with the tree lawns and stuff. Very good. I know this time of year with the flooding and the construction, you got a lot on your plate, but you took the call, you got back to me. I appreciate that. On to other things. I'll just say trains, horns. I know they got to bop it 4 times, but I heard on Sunday, very much so, it was a lot more than 4 times. I know there's not a lot you could do. I know we've discussed this before, but before it does become a problem, I think it would maybe be a little proactive on that. And I know, again, if there's any way you could help on that, let me know. I haven't got a lot of calls on that, but I imagine if that continues, we all start to will. One thing, a question I'd like to ask is, on these roads that we're gonna, the bidding process on them, okay? Is it, I mean, could we do that now on these roads? Have we done that already on the roads we proposed? Because we haven't got completely all the, I see you're kind of knowing what I'm asking you, so.
You're asking me?
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure what roads
Well,
you're
I'm asking
referring
you
to.
the ones we have down to get done. Did we already take bids on them? And if, I mean, do we have to wait till we're done here with this complete budget, or?
Councilman, as of right now, there is no roads program. If you're talking about the roads, the 2018 roads program, is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned, council hasn't authorized a program, so there is no roads program. So
I know that.
once it's authorized, then we have to prepare the plans and specifications to do the work, and then we have to go out to bid. So
Could that be the problem where I'm at right there? Could that be the problem, getting bids? Because I know some of these companies do other jobs. You really don't want to be doing it during time, like in the fall when the school buses and everything's going. I know it's probably best to do it in the summer, but.
Well, I guess the sooner we can get a roads program authorized, the sooner it enables me to get the plans prepared and get the project out to bid. Historically, we've pushed the envelope in working into the fall and into the early winter, which is less than desirable. So if there's any way that we can get a roads program, and get a roads program early in the year, it would be beneficial, I think, for the city to do that. Because yes, you're gonna get the contractors early in the season when they want to fill up their schedule. I think in the past we've been we've been fortunate to get competitive bids, and to get good contractors, bidding on that. Is that always going to be the case? I don't know, but I think you're positioned better if you could be bidding road work in the early spring or in the late winter, so that as soon as the weather breaks, you're ready to roll. And where we're at right now, we are far from being ready to roll.
You answered my question. Perfect. Thank you, Ed. To Randy, again, thank you for the good work this weekend. And the guys, is the Vector out every day? Stating what you said to Councilman Bergio, do we have that new Vector out?
Yes, sir. For the past 4 weeks, it's been out. Out of the 20 days, probably 16 of those days on storm-related issues. There again, catch basin cleaning. We did address a sanitary line on Doris today. Monday, I worked on Brook Park Road, where there was a catch basin that flooded across Brook Park Road, and I think we've established a reasonable cause for that if we could get it rectified through our neighboring city.
Okay. And Randy, if I could, one more through the chair. On that paper on Saturday, I did stop down and I seen we had a nice turnout. How did that all work out?
It was an excellent turnout. My weekend shift and our service dispatcher, Robin White, handled, took care of the residents, got their paper dumped. A lot of the residents want to see it get shredded, but there's so much, and it gets dumped into cans and then tipped into the shredder. It's a lengthy process, let's put it that way. He was there well after the time frame of the event, 1 o'clock, just to get the stuff cleaned up. But very well attended. If you did not get your shredding in there, we have another opportunity in October. So we'll do the best we can there again.
Okay, Randy, thank you. To Carol, thank you for the resolutions and the ordinances I have coming. I know I could be a pain at times. You've been utmost more than helpful. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, too, for the announcement and everything at the rec, but thank you for hearing about what the whirlpool, steam sauna, showers. That's good to hear. And Greg, thanks for the report for March. So, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Mancini. Mr. Orcutt?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair to the engineer, Ed, thank you for your report this evening about the study that Northeast Ohio is doing, and they're going to get back to you in 8 to 12 months, which is great. Before that report's done, do they have anything that's regularly scheduled that they do for maintenance in our city?
I would say yes, that there are some items that are on regular maintenance. I believe the trash rack down at Abram Creek by the airport, by Aerospace Parkway, I believe that's on a regular maintenance type schedule. They're doing a lot of inspections, and there's a lot of work orders that are falling out of those inspections. But regular maintenance type things, I guess, the trash rack over at Aerospace is really the only thing that comes to my mind right now. If there's a particular interest, I could inquire and see if there's what items are in Brook Park for, under a regular type of inspection or maintenance item.
That'd be perfect. That'd be great to find that out. Thank you very much. And then the next question I had through the chair to the service director, Randy, offhand, do you know if you got any basement calls, flooding in basements on Pickway at all? Does that ring a bell?
I don't have the list in front of me, Mr. Orcutt. Certainly, I don't recollect
Okay. I was
street
just
at all.
going off, I've seen last summer they had a red dot system at Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District that showed the red dots wherever a phone call came in. Basically what Ed was talking about, a report that he was going to be requesting from you. And what I did notice is Pickway, it had the most out of any street per households than any other street in all of Brook Park. So I was just wondering that. And then basically just I wanted to thank you for that proactive schedule. I did chase some of your guys down, being the chairman of the service committee. I thought that it was an ideal thing to see what they were doing, and it was amazing what they were doing. I saw how they had to take a spud bar and break that concrete up that's built up over years from the concrete trucks dumping or washing out their chutes, and just the asphalt that was in there. I know there was so much asphalt I seen on Harrison that they couldn't even take it with them. They had to leave it on the tree lawns. So I also wanted to let you know that there's people that just give me a call randomly about their basement. And there's one gentleman, I know Mr. Piatek's been over there, is Mr. Adams. He calls all the time, 40 years of flooding. And we had 3 inches, almost 3 inches this weekend. He and I had a discussion, and he didn't have one drop of water. So I know it's not everything doing the catch basins, but it certainly has made a difference. So I wanted to thank you and all your guys and girls down there. So I appreciate it. That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Orcutt. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jimmy, you mentioned, and the engineer mentioned, you know, the no roads program so far. We did put $1.2 million in the roads. And quite frankly, I thought that was very generous. I still think that's very generous, you know, with our budget. But again, council decided they want to put a little more in, and that's certainly your prerogative, gentlemen. But to the engineer's point, you have to come up with a figure, and we've got to get moving on it. Otherwise, you're going to be paying a lot more for these roads, and we're going to be doing them in December. So again, we appropriated $1.2 million. You want more, but we need to get with the engineer so we get those road programs going. I didn't want anybody to think that no one came forward with a roads program. We certainly did. But council wants a little more there, but we've got to get going on it. That's my only comment.
Mr. Poindexter?
Thank you, Council President. Through the chair to the engineer. Ed, that Sheldon Road project, that proposed project with, between us and Middleburg Heights, will that address any of that, Abrams Creek flooding? Will that raise the road up a little bit, or is that just to repair the condition of the road?
That's more just a mill and fill type project, but it has brought the flooding issue over there, the road flooding issue, kind of to the sewer district's forefront, because now we have a project, we have a real project over there, and you know, I'm trying to get them to move to, you know, come up with some type of you know, remedy or some type of solution so that we don't pave the road and then have to come back and, you know, and redo it at a later date. You know, in all likelihood that you know, that might be a possibility that happens. Not knowing, you know, the timeline on how soon or how quickly the sewer district would move on a project like that. But with the project at hand, the resurfacing with the county and with Middleburg Heights, that's strictly a mill and fill. It's more of a maintenance type, rideability type of project rather than to remedy a street flooding problem.
Yeah, I just think that it would behoove us to maybe address that problem before we spend all the money on resurfacing that road, with that issue. I know that's something to talk about, but that's all I got for now, Chairman. Thanks.
Thank you. Seeing no one else, we'll move on to letter J, other communications and petitions and verbal approval, introduction of new legislation. Under this, we have the payment to Brandon Reynolds for live streaming of meetings at $100 per evening. I believe the clerk has handed everybody documentation regarding live streaming of the council meetings. Additionally, with that, Mr. Single has advised me that to cover the live stream along with Boxcast through the end of June, that we should appropriate $3,100, and then whatever is not used will go back into the general fund.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Salvatore.
I don't think that appropriating the 3,100 would be included in this. I mean, what we have before us is approving the $100 per evening. I think we could address that 3,100. Put it on the caucus meeting and address it then.
All right, so you're saying the appropriation would need to go to the caucus, the next caucus, which would be the 24th?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we'll have to,
So I'd like to make a motion that we approve the $100 expenditure per evening for the live streaming.
Support.
motion to approve $100 per evening payment for live streaming, properly supported. Discussion? Seeing none. Michelle, please call the roll.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Bergia,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Mancini.
Yes.
Poindexter.
Yes.
Motion is approved to pay $100 per evening for live streaming. And then we'll have to put legislation together or put it on for discussion for a caucus for next week
Yes.
for the other amounts. That takes care of item J.
Brett, do we have any new legislation?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, we do. Sorry. We do have. Introduced by Councilman Mancini, an ordinance amending sections 331.45A and C of the Brook Park Codified Ordinances entitled Texting While Driving Prohibited and declaring an emergency. This one I will assign to the Legislative Committee. The next one is also introduced by Councilman Mancini, a resolution authorizing and directing the placement of a veteran parking space in all municipal parking lots and declaring an emergency. This too will be assigned to the Legislative Committee. No other new items. Moving on to letter K. Miscellaneous business appointments and confirmations. One item, the appointment of Michelle Blazek as clerk of council for the remainder of the 2018-2019 council term.
Chairman?
Mr. Salvatore.
Again, I don't recall this being added to a council agenda, and so I would like to make a motion that we move it to the caucus of the 24th as well.
Well, this was set that, this was on January 23rd. Motion was by Mr. Orcutt, supported by Mr. Bergio, to extend the council clerk to the end of April. And then I had asked, interjected the last council meeting for April would be the 17th. If not, I believe we'd have to go to May 1st. Mr. Salvatore commented the April 30th date works because that would be the deadline date, and council must get this done before that date and have answers before the middle of April. So that's why I was put to this one as a council action.
Yeah, I understand, but I don't believe that there was any motion made to do that. So rather than to deal with something that was not properly put onto this agenda, I would like to move it to the next agenda. If council wants to move forward without the proper motion, that's perfectly up to council. But I as one councilman, would like to move it to the caucus of the April 24th and deal with it then.
I'll support that.
Motion on the floor to move this to the April 24th caucus agenda, properly supported. Discussion on the motion. Mr. Mancini?
We can't move it to the caucus that we're going to go back to? Or that meeting's done?
No, that meeting is just now in recess is all.
I do believe
We got
that,
executive session too, so
I do believe that we will be able to deal with this in a timely fashion. I know we have until the end of the month, and I think we can accomplish that on the 24th.
Mr. Poindexter?
Thank you, Council President. My question is, there's not another council meeting to approve her before the end of the month, so will we then be in violation of the charter, but not having a clerk appointed?
I don't know if there's any, are you addressing that to me? Or,
Just addressing in general.
In general.
I don't see any
Yourself.
violation of the charter. I mean, we can deal with the appointment at a caucus and certainly let everybody know our intent, and especially Michelle would know exactly what's going to happen on that day, and then we can move forward from there. And I would prefer if we did it that way. Otherwise, if you want to try to do it tonight, then go ahead, but there is a motion on the floor.
All right, discussion's currently on the motion. Mr. Stem, did you have? No? Seeing no further discussion, Michelle, please call the roll.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Mancini,
Yes.
Dem.
Yes.
Motion is approved. With this will appear on the April 24th caucus agenda for discussion. Moving on to letter L. Remarks from the audience on any subject matter. Anybody who would like to come to the podium, please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Joan Markusik, 13911 Bellbrook. I want to thank council again for the money situation and looking into moving funds for our roads where we can. I have a remark on the live stream. When you call a meeting and it's a regularly scheduled meeting, I feel that they should be paid for that. But if you call a special meeting on that same night, I believe that they should be paid for staying to be here to live stream your special meeting. When you work a job and you're scheduled to work from 9 to 5, if you are when you're the employee, when your employer asks you to stay, you get compensated for that time. And when the live stream is expected to end after a regularly scheduled meeting and a special meeting is called, they're expecting to go home after the live stream regular meeting called. And I don't think that it's fair not to compensate them for that special meeting or a special function that they're here when they're expecting to go home. It's like an overtime thing. Hourly employees know about stuff like that. I know salary employees are kind of just thrown into it, but salary employees sometimes cut out early or come in late, and they do their little perk thing along the way too. That's my first thing. My next thing is the whole Ford situation. Our city has been being told over the past years that Ford needs to clean that property. I know that the mayor is in talks with Ford, but what I want to know is why we are not aggressively having them clean that property that they are not using currently to bring business into our city. They're holding us hostage by not having clean property for us to bring business in. And I know that you're a Ford person and all of that, and I understand that you really want them here. And our city would really love to have them here. But it's very, very apparent by the vacant land that's right there. And that, I know that Engle Road right there, it may not seem like it's a very busy intersection, but everybody that is on Brook Park Road, when they're sitting on Brook Park Road for like the 15, 20 minutes or whatever in rush hour traffic, they can see that vacant land there and nothing is being done with it. And it's time for our city to step up and hold them accountable to clean that property and stop having us being hindered in other areas of our city financially because they have that land there and they're not willing to clean it to help bring business into our city. So technically, they're taking their jobs away. You just said that we're losing 200 more jobs, and we're getting nothing. They keep taking and taking and taking from our city. And it's time for them to either step up or pay up. It's one or the other, and they have to be responsible. They're a business, and they have to be responsible for that property that they have in our city. Because when a resident does something like that, the city jumps all over them, hits them with fines and everything else. And them being a corporation, they either need to step up and clean up that property, or they need to start paying our city for holding that property and not having it be able to have a business. This is totally mind-boggling. We're going over this constantly, and everybody keeps saying, Ford, Ford, Ford. Well, you know what? Ford is doing nothing. It's ignorance. It's total ignorance. And it's time for our city to step up and make them accountable. I don't know what your talks are about, and I know that you keep saying that you can't say anything now. Well, you're not saying anything now, but they're taking 200 jobs out of our city. So obviously somebody's saying something, and they're not saying it to you, or they are saying it to you, but you're trying to figure out a way to get around it. Another thing is the rec center pool. I was at, unfortunately, a beautification meeting. And before that beautification meeting, I was at the rec center. I don't go there often. I'll admit it. I don't go. I have no desire to be there. But when I was in that pool area the other day, I was in there with Councilman Mancini, and we were talking about it. And I'm wondering if somebody has actually taken a look at that building, that section of that building, outside of the box. Because what I see is mold on the walls, a bunch of stuff all over the room, and 2 huge holes. And you said that you wanted to put a roof on that building. Well, you shouldn't be putting a roof on a building that has mold in the walls, because eventually you're going to have to tear the roof off to fix the walls that you just put the new roof on. So technically, you're paying to put on a roof that you're going to have to tear off, and you're probably going to tear it off before you have the roof paid for. Then you're going to have to fix the walls, and then after you fix the walls, you're going to have to pay for a new roof, and you haven't even paid for the first roof that you put on that you had to tear off. I have no concept of any construction or anything, and I was told for like 20-some years, I'm not in the trades, so I don't know what I'm talking about, but I knew when a septic tank was leaking, even though I'm not in the trades. So obviously, I don't know anything about any kind of trades stuff, but it doesn't take much to see that you guys are just jerking around all this crap. And I'm just, as a resident, I'm just so sick of hearing about Ford and about the pool and about how you're going to pay the live stream people a set amount when they're here longer than they're supposed to be because you call a special meeting, but you don't want to pay them. And then you have residents, from what I hear on Facebook, bashing because you're paying them money. It's like this city is totally screwed up. Pay people for what you're going to do, and stop spending money when you're not even going to be finished paying for what you're supposed to be paying for, and you're ripping it off and doing something else. It's like, get it together. Ford needs to cough up some cash or clean up that property, and our rec center pool area either needs to be torn down, the roof needs to be lowered, and tear off the part that's moldy, and we need to move on with the city business here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Markusic.
Hello, my name is Louis Modick. Live at 14399 Fayette Boulevard, Brook Park, Ohio. I'm glad the Bally's building was mentioned at this meeting. But the problem with the Bally's building is you could clean it up every day because insulation, I hope it's just insulation, keeps spewing out of the building. And I'm wondering, doesn't Brook Park have some kind of program where when it becomes the health or safety issue of our residents, that they can't come and board that up or put a tarp over it so it's not continuing blowing through the neighborhood? Then I hear you talk about the catch basin in the stores and doing preventative. You could go by there every other day and there's big bats of this stuff laying right on Michael Avenue. It's all the way down to Brookview School. It's all across the street in the medical center. And the city did come and clean it up, but you would have to come out there next day and the next day. It's been going on for 2 weeks now. And I just don't understand why people are saying the city can't do nothing. Their hands are tied. We have a law department. Can't whatever the city needs to do in an emergency, put a lien on the property or something and go back after the property owners so it's not a safety and health issue and it's not going to cause problems with sewers later on down the road? And I come to my attention, I don't know if it's true or not, but this ain't the first time that has happened to that building. I'm done with that part of it. Then the other part of it, a different issue, dog park. To some people, it's a real sore thing. I was brought it up in January, asked if it was a dead issue. I was told it's not a dead issue, and you know, if that's something the people want, or you know, the budget. I understand now about the roads and everything. My question is, with nothing coming from the city budget, would the councilman and the city of Brook Park support a community's group effort to do things over the next couple years? It's not going to happen overnight. To fund a dog park, where it's a citizens' dog park. It's not coming from city's money. It's not coming out of any road project. But we would need help. I talked to a couple of people at Huntington Bank, how to set something up like that. They talked about an IE number, employee identification number. I don't want to touch any money. I don't want our group to touch any money. Set up something where people could donate, or we could have fundraisers, but we need the city support as far having a place to do it and the legalities of it. And I was just wondering if anybody would be interested, where we could set up a committee to do that. I already have a couple people interested. I have verbal commitments from 4 different lifetime residents of Brook Park who still live in their family home. It's not much, but verbal commitment right now of up to $350. So just, it would be a start. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Modick.
Good evening. Susan Barber, 5819 Robert Drive. Well, this is a piece of the chunk of my street on Robert Drive that the street cleaner didn't get, but the reason I bought this piece of chunk that to indicate that most of our roads, well, probably most of Ohio or anyone who gets snow, we need to get our roads fixed. And I kind of have a problem. I would like to know revenue ideas. I know Councilman Scott brought that up. Does this city engineer or the building department, do they, or the city itself, do you enforce the ordinances, whatever ordinances there is of the city? And do you set maximum penalties, monetary penalties? Because that would be revenue ideas and revenue coming in, and they'll be fixing the streets and things and sewers like this. Maybe we should start buckling down and going after residents who don't upkeep their lawns and so on and so forth. Another thing I wanted to talk about, as I was been seeing my sick husband in other cities, the city of Broadview Heights has this splendid sign that says, "We love our city, be pride, take pride, and don't litter." Well, I live in Ward 3, and I don't know about the other wards, 1, 2, or 4, But our Ward 3 is the pits. I walked my dog, and I took a couple pictures, but I don't see no pride when people, there's a gas cap here, and this is like a sweater, and I think more people should take pride in their city, and then, forget about what you say on social media, and just take pride. I mean, it's just like, where has it gone? Does anyone care about your community or nothing like that? And I do. So by saying that, I had started a 501c nonprofit charity for the city of Brook Park called Brook Park Help Thy Neighbor. I did the talk and I also did the walk. I went and applied for it and I was accepted. And by starting this charity, we, with another charity that was started, the Brook Park Botanical Garden Club, we are sponsoring a fundraiser on May 12th at the Methodist Church. And that's a Saturday. It's from 12 to 3. And I have some raffle tickets. It's $10. And the purpose of these groups are we're going to be beautifying the city. And we met with Mayor Gamella. Hi, Mike. And so he has our blessings with this. So another thing we're going to be doing on May 19th, we're asking for a lot of volunteers of people from the community to bring your rakes, your gloves, your lawn bags, and we're going to spruce up and plant flowers around in different areas of the city. So for we could all take pride. So I hope everyone hears my message and take pride. And everyone have a good day. And I'll take my rock and take it home and put it in the garbage. And hopefully you'll listen to my comments. We need to get more revenue. Oh, another thing I wanted to ask for revenue ideas. When we do recycling, this is probably to Mr. Gardner, when we recycle, do we get some kind of money back from doing that type of a thing? And like for the shredded, do we get money back for that? Because that's revenue coming into the city. Because if we don't, why do we recycle? Even though it's a planet Earth thing or whatever. But if we're not getting money for certain things, we should not do them. And another thing is some of the ordinances might be so old, maybe this council or the future councils could go over and then just update them. Maybe some of us need to bite the bullet. I don't know. Maybe we need a small tax thing on the ballot. I don't know. These are just my opinions. I mean, I would like to have nice roads, so does everyone in all the suburbs, but those are my thoughts. Okay. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Barber.
Hi. Yes, Elizabeth Sayers, 23065 Cedar Point Road. And yes, I am moving September 1st, so I'll no longer be here. Okay, now, I gave you all a copy of these papers for a reason. I want to get one thing straight with the city of Brook Park and everybody that's listening to live stream. Okay, this is the way it goes. This is about the gazebo. So we can clear this up, and I don't want to hear another word about it. Okay? I don't want anybody to discuss it. I don't want to hear it on Facebook. I don't want to hear it anywhere. Because nobody can tell it to my face. Now, here we go. The gazebo. Last year, Mayor Coyne and I and Ralph Lone talked about this. Mayor Coyne and I went outside while the break, whatever it was. He and I talked about it. We shook hands. He says, you can do around the gazebo planting flowers, you and Ralph Lone. Ralph Lone gave him a drawing of the plans for the flowers around the gazebo. Okay? This didn't belong to beautification or any other little group that's out here in Brook Park. Okay? Now, this year, I said that I wanted to do the gazebo because this is my last year here in Brook Park. The mayor says you can have it. Well, I jumped all over the mayor like everybody knows that I will just go to your face and complain and gossip, whatever you want to call it, bitch. And I told him, I said, you know what? I have been threatened. I have been told off. You name it. I've been attacked every form of way you can imagine. Now, we're going to make this short and sweet. I'm doing the gazebo, and everybody can come and have coffee with me, plant a flower, do whatever you want. Because that's what I asked for last year. Come and join me. We had a cookout. We had fun. Did the whole thing. Well, nobody ever showed up. Nobody did anything with me after that cookout. One lady came and did a little bit with me. Ralph pulled one weed out. I had to replant a lot of the flowers because the deers were going after it and people were going after it and everything else. I cleaned up around City Hall, the garbage and everything, and all the glass that was on the gazebo. This year I even sat on some, so we won't go there, from the balls being broken. Yes, it still hurts. And so what I'm trying to say is, okay, I didn't like somebody telling me that they were taking control over this gazebo and because you pulled out annual flowers that were dying that, you know, I don't understand people. I pulled out flowers that were dying. They were starting to fall apart and everything. Got criminal charges. Somebody made a police report on me. I know who it was. Criminal charges on pulling annual flowers out. If you know anything about flowers, those don't grow back. The ones that are still in the ground over there are growing back. Oh my God. And then I took pictures of everything over there. Well, I come back over there the other day with my boyfriend, help start cleaning up the dead flowers and everything. Somebody took flowers out of there that were growing. That's why it's so nice to take pictures, because I'm covering my tail this year. I'm taking pictures of everything and anything that happens at this gazebo. Okay, now, I gave you these papers up there because I like to know why I'm going to be the Oreo cookie. I'm the cream in this Oreo cookie. You got another garden club coming. The Beautification and Pride do not plant flowers or have any, according to them, they don't plant flowers or anything. I was invited to their meeting last week by Tom Torrier. Let's straighten this out, that the mayor said Liz can do the gazebo. Well, it's just not Liz. Liz wants people to come there, talk to her, and help her with the flowers. Because that was the original agreement. Mayor Coyne says, go to Beautification if you need help, or because you told me you don't know what certain flowers and all this other stuff is, to go get help. Okay? This is what Mayor Coyne told me. Okay? I am talking. Shut up. Okay? Now, I'm telling you...
Liz, let me handle what the audience does, all right? Let's put this
Okay.
along. Let's not get into arguments. Let's keep this on
Okay,
track.
not going to get an argument,
Thank you.
but I'm talking.
I
So
understand
anyway-
that. That's why I'm asking you, please
Okay.
keep on track so we
All
can
right,
move this
I'll
forward.
keep on track. Okay, so now we got all these little beautification things going on. We got clubs here, well, groups here, groups there, and everything else. Now, I feel like the cream and an Oreo cookie, because both groups are starting their little clucking. The little hands are starting to go at it. And I'm not going to be in the middle of this one. Okay? I'm doing the gazebo with anybody that wants to come and help me plant flowers or whatever. I'm not asking for a dime. I'm not asking for flowers. I'm just asking somebody to come and have a cup of coffee with me and a donut, and let's, keep it cleaned up and make it look nice. Okay? But this is getting really out of control on social media, and it's getting really out of control. And I went to a beautification meeting. I went there, and before I could even sit down, was getting attacked. Why are you at this meeting? and it was just like, wow. And I tried to explain it. Tom Troyer invited us there. We were told to leave. It was just a bunch of garbage. And I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but it's pretty sad when you go to a beautification meeting, which I had the understanding with the paperwork that I got and everything. It was an open meeting to begin with. Tom Troyer wanted us to come and talk about what's going on with the gazebo, because it seems like nobody understood. Everybody wants control. And everybody says, well, we're taking over, we're doing this, we're doing that. Well, I tried to explain to them about it. I tried to explain to a lot of people about this. And it just doesn't seem that nobody can comprehend it. So, like I said, I'm not asking for anything. I'm not asking the mayor to reimburse me for flowers, that whole garbage. I'm not asking for anything. All I'm asking is, leave me alone. You want to come and help me? Come and help me. Come and help me clean up around here, whatever. And make it a fun thing, not attack me. Don't attack me and try to control the situation. It is city's property. It doesn't belong to anybody but the city. It's city property, and he was worried. He told me about the insurance. He was more concerned about, you gotta look at this way, Liz. I don't want anything to happen because of the insurance, and he went on about all the things about the city. So the only thing I gotta say is, I can't stop the social media, I can't stop the clucking of all the hens, I can't stop anything, but don't attack me. Come and join me and don't attack me. And like I said, there's just too many groups. And beautification does not have a right to tell me what I can and cannot do and start telling me I'm not allowed at their luncheons, at their meetings, or anything else, because I have an understanding it's an open group. So something's got to come down here. Either squash one of the groups or let's just try to work together. But working together, it's not working. That's not working at all. So the only thing I got to say is, the mayor, you got to put your foot down and do something. You're supposed to be basically in control of this. You're the one that's got to say, hey, you know what, enough is enough. And the beautification, you got to have a little talk with them. Because a lot of people that went with me and saw what happened at the last meeting, I'll admit when I'm wrong. But you don't threaten me, and don't put your finger in my face.
Hey, Liz, if I can
I know,
interrupt you for a
I'm
second.
done.
If there's
I'm
some
done.
issues, okay, all right,
But
thank
you
you.
know what, you got to read this, and you got to say, what's going on with all these groups?
But
You
what I'm
don't
saying
need
is,
this many.
hang on, hear me out, please. If there's issues like that, I suggest you set up an appointment with the mayor or the administration and work through that.
Hold on a minute. Hold on, Mike. I tried that. You know what I got, Mike? I got screamed at, yelled at, threatened. Now, you know what? I talked to Mayor Good.
All right, well, hold on. So here's what I'm asking you. I'm asking you right now,
No,
please.
I'm not going to do anything you say. You know why, Mike? Because you know what?
Hang on.
You know what, Mike?
Liz, hold on, please. Please hear me. What
Why?
I'm asking is that we take this offline afterward, okay? And I will, if I need to be the liaison, I will help you to discuss with the mayor's office,
Where were
okay?
you last year? Where were you this year? Huh?
Liz, I'm not
I'm
getting into a
done.
back and forth. Thank you.
Good. We're not going to go back and forth. You can
All right.
take all these groups and you can take their flowers and put them in their ears.
Okay, thank you.
Because you know what? You're all talk. Where were you at the beautification meeting that you said you were?
Liz, like I just said, let's
Yeah,
take this offline,
nobody
please.
wants to hear the truth. Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Where were you when I needed you?
Thank you, Liz.
Yeah. Where were you? What? 3? What the heck?
All right. Callahan Rubensall, 14240 Newton Road. Do you need to spell out my name? Anything of that sort?
Mr. Rubensall, please hold on one second.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Brandy, thank you. Continue, sir.
All right. So I know previous to Liz's speech, I heard the word revenue. I heard the word revenue several times, And I'd just like to comment on that really quickly. So I did look through a list of the cities and their tax rates, and Brook Park is actually really far down on their tax rates. You guys are doing really well in that area. You're on par with Strawnsville and Millbrook Heights, and you're also the largest of the 3 cities around here. So one would think that you would gross more tax from your citizens. Of course you do. But Millbrook Heights and Berea have something that you guys don't, and it's that you guys, the entire city of Brook Park, is basically built around the Ford plant. And I realize that that's not completely true. You do have businesses other than the Ford plant, and you have businesses that do gross a significant portion of your taxes. But Ford used to be and continues to be the main part that comes from the businesses. And Millbrook Heights and Berea are different from you guys because they really have several businesses all over several major businesses all over their city. And if one closes, they're not in basic financial ruin. I know that's what happened with Ford. And I applaud both you, Mayor Gamella, and Mayor Coyne for taking the initiative and trying to open up that land that Ford has vacated and try to get some new businesses in there. I realize, and I hope that the residents of the city of Brook Park realize that simply taxing the citizens heavier will not solve this problem. We really do need to redevelop that land, and eventually we might actually, if we keep going down this path, mayor after mayor comes in, tries to fix the problem, and Ford doesn't do anything. Hopefully Mayor Gamella can fix the problem, but if Ford continues to do nothing, then we might at some point have to tell Ford to basically leave and take that hit for years so that we can open up that land. It won't happen now, maybe 10, 20 years down the line, but I'm just saying that the Ford property is where most of your revenue has come from in the past, and your revenue problem stems from Ford. So raising the taxes on the citizens is not the greatest of ideas. I think it's the one reason why people still want to move to Brook Park, is that you have a great tax rate and you're on par with the rest of the cities in the school district. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rubenstahl. Seeing no one else, we will move to letter M.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Mayor.
we're now out of audience participation, am I correct?
Yeah, we're currently at audience participation.
I'd like to address a few of the speakers, if you don't mind. I'll keep my remarks brief.
A second, Mayor. Hold on one second, please.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Salvatore?
In order to address the audience, but there must be a motion made and properly supported and voted upon.
Correct, thank you.
So,
Motion to address the audience.
support.
Motion to address the audience, properly supported. Discussion. Seeing none, Michelle, please call the roll.
Mancini,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Persia,
Yes.
Scott. Motion carried.
Motion is approved. Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Council. I'll keep my remarks concise. As far as the Ford property goes, they have 265 acres there that is available. I know the previous administration was trying to work with Ford. They took another tack. I've chosen to take another one. I believe that you get more working with people than fighting with people. So currently, yes, we are talking with Ford. As far as the cleanup of that property, Ford has cleaned up that property when they took down the casting plant. There probably is some more to take down, but they will get to it. I can tell you this, Ford is still the second biggest taxpayer in this city. NASA is the first largest taxpayer in this community. We still have 1,500 jobs there. As far as the 200 jobs they took off, it's not that they wanted to take them off, it's just that the four-cylinder engine isn't selling. The American public is buying SUVs. And you saw the same thing happen down in Lordstown where they make the Cruise, where they're laying off over 1,000 people. So it's not Ford, it's the economy, and it's what people are buying. But the Ford property, I've always said, my goal, and the goal of this administration, and I believe the goal of this council, is to take the smokestacks off of our city seal and make that parcel over there some kind of high technology area or a huge healthcare facility. and I'm talking on the order of the Mayo Clinic or something of that nature. So that is our goal. That's the goal we're going to continue to go after. As far as being a Ford guy, yes, I put 43 years in at Ford, but I'm not there anymore. I'm currently the mayor of Brook Park, and the city of Brook Park is the most important thing to me right now outside of my family. So we are going to aggressively do everything we can. And again, Ford owns the property. We just can't throw them out. We have to work with them, and that's precisely what we're going to do. The gentleman with the dog park, we're still looking at that dog park situation. The problem is, where are we going to put it? Some people love it, some people don't like it, but I think enough people have dogs would utilize it, and we are looking at that again, and we're going to continue to try to do something there. The Bally situation, the owner has been told to clean that up on numerous occasions. I'll speak with the building commissioner tomorrow. So as far as the pool, we understand that pool's been closed 4 years. 4 years, and there are some problems. It's not as easy as putting a roof on. And there are some other issues, and we're going to address those issues as well. But we can't let that pool area continue to deteriorate while the rest of the rec center stands. It's got 3 adjoining walls. And by not putting a roof on the pool, you're jeopardizing the entire rec center. We're putting $5.2 million in a half a building. That's insane. We can't do that. We've got to put a roof over the pool, and I would like to reopen the pool. That's my goal. But we at least have to protect that asset so it doesn't affect the rest of the recreation center. We're moving City Hall there. We're moving the council chambers there. We're moving the court there. So that building is going to be very important to the future of this city. So again, we're going to do the right thing. I know this council's, behind it. I know they want to move the city ahead as well as I do. I care. I know this council cares. I know the overwhelming majority of the residents of the city care. And we're going to move this city forward, and we're going to become something that you can be proud of. We're going to take those smokestacks off, and we're going to go from an industrial town to a high-tech town. We have NASA, we have the Ford property, we have the Aerospace Tech Park, and we're going to lead the way. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Orcutt.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank everyone that did come to the microphone and speak. I think we had a lot of great ideas. The young man that came and spoke at the end there, some very good points that you made there, so thank you very much for coming up. Mrs. Barber, if she's still here, I wanted to thank you for coming to the microphone this evening. I do know you personally. I know you do a lot for the community. I know you do a lot for children. And I really appreciate the fact that you started a club to help the city, and if there's anything I can do to help that process with your club or your fundraiser, please reach out to me. But one thing I did want to talk about is, you asked if anyone has any pride in our community, and I just wanted to state to you that I have a lot of pride in Brook Park. I could have chose to live anywhere in this world. I was a combat engineer in the Navy, had opportunities to work in different countries, was offered things and turned them down. Where we came was Brook Park. It's where my wife was born and raised. And I just wanted to say that while living here, I can't say enough about the people. I'm not going to leave here. This is a great community. The people are wonderful. And to call Ward 3 the pits, I can't sit here as the Ward 3 councilman and allow that to be done without talking about how great Ward 3 is. The people in Ward 3 are very proud people. They're hardworking people. And yes, there was a time where things were kind of down. And just recently, I've only been the councilman for 3 months there, right just south of your street on Doris Drive, from Bowfin to Wangler, for a few years now, has been littered with beer cans and debris for many years now. And our service department, one email, that service department was over there within an hour and cleaned it up, and have been over there on a daily basis, making sure they clean up over there. So for you to come to the microphone and say that Ward 3 is the pits, I have to say I disagree with you. I love the fact that you're doing good things for our community, and I want you to know that I'm here to help you, and I'm working extremely hard as the Ward 3 representative to make sure that Ward 3 is not the pits. And I'm working very hard with the other ward representatives and the other 3 council at large to make sure that this city is the greatest city in America. It's going to take a little time, but I just wanted to make sure that you understand that I, as your representative in Ward 3, am working extremely hard. That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Orcutt. Mr. Stem.
Thank you, Council President. Through the chair to Mr. Modoc. Regarding the issue at Bally's, if that's a public health concern, I think we should get with the mayor. So we don't have a safety director, but the mayor and our council at large and the ward rep, and I'll be more than willing to help get together and look into and see what our options are at the county. If it in fact is a public health concern, if there's insulation or
Through the chair to Councilman Stem, the building department tells me it is not a hazardous material, but it is a nuisance material. And we've been in contact with the owner to clean it up, because the gentleman's correct. Every time you get a strong wind or something, the things just blow all over. And then they've got to do something with that. And we're going to make sure that that happens.
Thank you. Mr. Mancini.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair to everybody that came to that microphone, I think one of the things that I kept hearing you all say was it kind of brushed back right up to the mayor. You're angry, you're upset, you're this, you're that. Well, I got to be a little more than honest up here. We all are. I mean, that's why we all ran. That's why you're all still here sitting in the audience. Okay? A lot of the things that were mentioned are problems that they've been here for a while. Like Mr. Rubensaw said, there is a lot of good things here. Okay? I drove a lot on Sunday. I was a lot of cities. Okay? She brought a chunk of road up. Well, I could do that anywhere. We just got out of winter. Okay? Mrs. Barber brought up a chunk of road. Let me go take a 2-minute walk, and I'll bring you one up here too. But let me go to any city and I can go any street to do that. It's not a pit. This city is not a pit. You look at Kennedy Park here. It's clean. We're getting things done. We're working. I a little bit disagree with the mayor on the insane part about the rec center, because we did put a lot of money up on that roof, because it might not be operable now, but there's still a lot to do. I do agree with Mr. Elliott and Mr. Salvatore. We are Brook Park people, and we do care, and we're working hard to get a lot of these things corrected. Not very easy, because a lot of things that came up at that mic are things that have been going on for a while. A lot of the good qualities, a lot of good things we have here, somehow a lot of times get put on the wayside. Like I'd stated earlier, we're getting the emails, we're getting the phone calls, this, and we're gonna work on them, okay? It's not an easy thing. You've seen us go with the budget here the past 3 weeks. We're still going with it, okay? So, I mean, there's valid good points up there. I thought one of the things Louis brought up was, it was a good point, Lou. You said about a committee doing it without up here. And how many times have people heard me, and I'm going to wrap this up, Mr. Chairman, say that it shouldn't always be, I got these things all here today. This, they want to solve. How about the community get involved? Sort of someone like what Joan said over there, okay? How about a lot of residents getting, and run it without coming back and saying, well, the mayor, council. We're going to do our job, and we're going to work hard, because this is the council administration and directors to do it. And it's going to be a challenge even still. I tell you where I do agree with the mayor is we're going to get it right, and we're going to work hard to do it. But a lot of it is we need the residents too. Like, you know, Sue and both Joan said up there, get some of the residents, get out and go clean up in front of your house. Go walk down the street. I'll stop my car right here in Kennedy Park, and I know some people up here have seen me grabbing the recyclables, things of that sort. I got community service kids here. That's Jimmy the citizen. That ain't Jimmy the councilman. That's what people need to do. It's about coming together. Mr. Rubin saw a very good point about the taxes. They are very low. At one point, like insurance and everything else, it's probably going to have to go up if people want a lot of things that they want. I know nobody wants to hear that, but you did bring up a very good point. So I just had to state that. We're on our way, but it's going to be tough. So I thank you for listening, and I thank you all for coming and sticking around. We're going on our 2.5 hours here, so I'm done, Mr. Chairman. I'll let somebody else speak. So
thank you, Mr. Mancini. Mr. Bergio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of comments. Appreciate comments, Mrs. Barber, and I just wanted to mention that There is pride in Brook Park. And a lot of people have beautiful, beautiful properties, not only front yards, but the backyards also. And some of those comments were made about our neighborhoods, you know, maybe deteriorating like over 10 years ago, and that's why the Beautification and Pride Committee, I initiated that with the help of Danny Colonna, who was the councilman at that time, and he helped to get it going also, and with the blessing of Mayor Elliott at the time. It has been a very successful program, and people have really responded to it. We've just had our 10-year anniversary, so people are doing some good things, and we are concerned about that. So that's one thing that I'm proud that we've done that as a city. And I do think we don't need to abandon our recycling program. I'm really, I think the environment is very, very important, so that would be something that I wouldn't even consider doing that. But as far as a dog park, Mr. Modick, you know, I tried last year. I wanted to get that going too. It was something that I initiated 2008, and it's been difficult to get that passed. But you had some pretty good comments, and maybe something that maybe the community can get behind, something like that. But I'm willing to look at that. Also, there's possibilities of doing it jointly with another city, and I think Middlebrook Heights had some interest in that too. So I'll be talking to you about that, and if we can do something like that, and then the people want it, then maybe we can make that happen. So I appreciate your comments. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Bergio. Mr. Poindexter.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to start by addressing Mr. Rubensaw. I agree with you 100%. I don't want to see an income tax rate on the working people of this town or any of the workers in this town. I think we can achieve, you know, increased revenues, you know, with you know, through elevated wages, through economic development, bringing in more business, maybe business with higher salaries, and I'd rather see us exhaust all of those options way before we even consider raising income taxes. I mean, working class people are barely making ends meet, you know, the way it is. You know, you take another whole % out of their check or whatever you decided to do, it makes it even harder. So, yeah, I thank you for coming to the podium and addressing that, and I agree with you on that 100%. And then I'd like to address a comment Ms. Marcusic made about the live stream not being paid for their special meetings. I agree with you too. I think anybody who does any work should be paid for their work. And that's why I proposed several months back about making that position, maybe looking into making that position a part-time position and attaching an hourly rate to that position, so that way every hour they're here, they can get paid for the time that they're here. Whether it be, you know, an hour or 5 hours, they're getting paid the whole time. If they have to update the system, they're getting paid for that time. So I think that's something we should consider, because like I said, I agree with you that anybody who does work should be paid for it. And thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Poindexter. Mr. Salvatore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too would like to thank everybody for coming to the microphone. I've always been very proud when people come to the microphone to speak their minds, and we have the opportunity to respectfully disagree or agree. I'd like to start off by complimenting our Ward 3 councilman for standing up for what he believes in, and I wholeheartedly support his comments. You know, I don't believe that Ward 3 is the pitch of the community. I grew up in Ward 3. I grew up with this town, and if anybody is very proud to be a part of Brook Park, it certainly is me. And I'm glad to see young people getting involved, so that as we go forward, that more young people will feel the same way that I do about Brook Park. And I think Mr. Orcutt is one of those guys, and I want to thank you for standing up for what you believe in. That's very important. As far as Mr. Rubensall's comments, I take that to heart. I believe that Brook Park has certainly been very proactive, and I've been lucky enough to be a part of it. We've done a lot of progressive things in Brook Park over the years. Just to mention a few, but we took on the north side of Brook Park Road, which wasn't very popular. I remember spending many nights talking to at that time, Councilman Elliott. We always wanted to make sure we were doing the right thing. Sometimes we'd be up to the wee hours of the morning, pacing the floors, trying to figure out, is this good or isn't it? Well, it turned out to be very good. And that street shares our name, and we've received a tremendous amount of revenue by taking that on during the airport deal. and to talk about the NASA. And I wasn't positive that was going to be a good thing, but it's turned out to be a great thing. And they are bringing in tremendous, again, the tremendous amount of revenue to our city by council and the administration taking a very proactive approach on rebuilding the town from the ground up. You know, that's the keeping the money from the IX Center and the airport deal. And a very, very smart move. I have to applaud Dave Lambros, then law director, and Mayor Coyne for having the foresight to be able to do that. To this day, we're still receiving the revenues from there as well as the revenue from the Emerald Park. So being able to keep low taxes has been something that's been done by administration and council working together. And the bottom line of it is it's time for us to do it again. It's time for Brook Park Council and administration to roll up our sleeves and to say, hey, we did it once, we could do it again. We got a great finance director who is there. His position, his job is to certify the funds to make sure that what we're about to undertake, that we can afford it. Is it good for the city, and is it legal? And I think that's what we've been doing all along. And I hope we continue on those same lines. I did have a question for Susan Barber about the new organization that she's, but I was just handed a document that I guess it came from you or it came from somebody who was speaking tonight. Okay, I was just curious. Okay. Well, my question was going to be, who are the principals of this new organization, but I think I have that information here. But other than that, as one councilman, I know I'm going to continue to work as hard as I can to keep Brook Park as great as it can be. And growing up here, I'm very proud of what I've accomplished, and I'm very proud of what the city's been doing. And I do know that it is time to start finding some better ways to bring in revenue without just waving the flag and saying, okay, let's raise taxes, let's do it that way. If there was no other choice, if there's no other way, I'm sure we'd have to sit down and try to iron something out. But I think that by working together, I think that we can get Ford's attention. I think that is very important, that we stay on top of that and never give up. And I think it's time that we finish the project out on Brook Park Road. When we started the Brook Park Road corridor project, and we came out swinging, and we started cleaning up the mess up there. That half of it was when we took on the north side of Brook Park Road, which was Cleveland. And it's time to get back, roll up our sleeves and get back into the Brook Park Road sector and find ways to develop that property. I think you might be hearing some things about that in the very near future. But that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salvatore. Seeing no one else, I'll,
Supposed to go back to regular order of business.
I was gonna speak on one item myself.
Go ahead.
Which,
I withdraw my motion.
thank you, sir. I would like to address our audience participation portion. One of the issues is the fact that we've got some infighting throughout the city, and this podium is not the place for that. If you have an issue with another resident or group, you're best suited to call your representative, whether it be your ward representative, your at-large, your council president, or your mayor's office. Let's sit down and let's work through these issues. Ms. Sayers was at the podium with an issue, as everybody is aware of, and these are issues she's tried to get resolution from, and I'm willing to help out and try to be the liaison. And these are things that we need to do. Instead of coming here to air it out, this isn't the place to air out the dirty laundry of what's taking place. This is for business or things that are going on with the city itself, not personally and individually. So moving forward, I would appreciate, and I'm sure members of council would appreciate that we try to keep those items to that. And again, reach out. All of our numbers are available. Email, anything like that. Over to Mrs. Barber. I like the fact that yourself, your energy and the things that you want to do, in starting another club. One of the issues that I have is the fact that, we have a couple clubs and it seems like we've got a tug of war going on. It seems like nobody wants to work together. We're all jockeying for dominance. And at least in my opinion, we all need to work together for the betterment of the city of Brook Park as a whole. Yes, there are needs for some clubs, but when we're doing the same thing, in some instances, just to trump one another, it gives us all a bad vibe and a bad feeling. And I think that council as a whole is willing to work with anybody, including myself, the mayor's office. But I'd like to see everybody just try to get along and become one to make Brook Park the place everybody wants to call home. That's it for me. I'll entertain your motion, sir.
Do you mind if I comment on one thing?
No, you've already commented, sir.
I'll save it for next Thursday.
I'll entertain a motion to go back to regular order of business.
So made.
You're not going to make a comment?
No, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to, as one member of City Council, I don't ever want to let anybody think that they're not welcome to come to that podium because the letter L was remarks from the audience on any subject matter. And I think you have the right to come forward. If you're having an issue, I want you to come forward. I encourage you to come forward, and hopefully we can work it out. I understand what the president is saying, and to some extent I agree with what he's saying, but I don't want anybody to think that you're not welcome here, because you certainly are, as far as I'm concerned. And I want you to continue to come, and I want to be able to have open dialogue on any subject, because that's exactly what we're here for, is to hear what you have to say, and if we can help, or if I can help. I know Eddie Orcutt has extended his courtesy to help people, even though they took a shot at his ward. He's still ready. He's still willing to help them, and I want to keep that alive. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, motion on the floor to go back to the regular order of business, properly seconded. Michelle, please call the roll.
Mancini,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Bergio.
Yes.
Orcutt.
Yes.
Motion is approved. We are back to letter M. Introduction of ordinances and resolutions for first reading. We have a few listed.
Ordinance number 11,019-2018, introduced by Mayor Camella, approving a lot consolidation and split for new construction at permanent parcel numbers 344-03076, 077, 078, 5211 West 149th Street, located in the U1A5 zone, and declaring an emergency.
Ordinance number one.
Motion to suspend.
Support.
Motion to suspend, properly supported. Discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Michelle, please call the roll on suspension.
Salvatore?
Yes.
Orcutt?
Yes.
Bergio?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Poindexter?
Yes.
Mancini? Yes. Stem?
Yes.
Motion for suspension has been approved.
Motion to adopt.
Support.
Motion to adopt, properly supported. Discussion on adoption. Seeing none, Michelle, please call the roll on adoption.
Bergio?
Yes.
Orcutt?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Salvatore?
Yes.
Poindexter?
Yes.
Mancini?
Yes.
Stem?
Yes.
Ordinance number 11019-2018 has been adopted. Item number 2.
Oh, that's me.
That's you.
Ordinance number 1120-2018, introduced by Mayor Gamella, authorizing the mayor to enter an agreement with Greater Cleveland Auto Auction, public auctioneers, for the purpose of disposing of obsolete city vehicles and declaring an emergency.
Motion to suspend.
Support.
Motion to suspend, properly supported. Discussion. Seeing none, Michelle, please call the roll on suspension.
Salvatore?
Yes.
Bergio?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Orcutt?
Yes.
Stem?
Yes.
Mancini?
Yes.
Poindexter?
Yes.
Suspension is approved.
Move to adopt.
Support.
Motion to adopt, properly supported. Discussion. Seeing none, Michelle, please call the roll.
Salvatore?
Yes.
Stem?
Yes.
Mancini?
Yes.
Poindexter?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Bergio?
Yes.
Orcutt?
Yes.
On to the third item.
Resolution number 14-2018, introduced by Council President Vecchio, Council as a whole, and Mayor Gamella, requesting the administration, members of council, and the electorate of the city of Brook Park support a renewal of the 2018 Cuyahoga Health and Human Services levy and declaring an emergency.
Move to suspend.
Support.
Motion to suspend, properly supported. Discussion? Seeing none.
One quick question on the agenda.
Salvatore?
On the agenda, you mentioned the 2018 program, is that correct? But my legislation is reads 2019, as though I think we should correct that before we move forward. Take it as a typo. Thank you.
Motion to suspend, properly supported with the typo. Discussion? Seeing none, Michelle, please call the roll.
Bergia,
Yes.
Mancini,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Move to adopt.
Support.
Motion to adopt, properly supported. Discussion? Seeing none, Michelle, please call the roll.
Mancini,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Bergia,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Resolution number 14-2018 has been adopted. Item number 4.
ordinance number 11,021, 2018, introduced by Mayor Gamella, authorizing the consulting engineer to prepare his plans, specifications, and bid documents, and the mayor to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for the Smith Road resurfacing project, Snow to Elm, and declaring an emergency.
Move to suspend.
Support.
Motion to suspend, properly supported. Discussion?
Does it have to be read in full?
Suspension, I think.
Do we?
What?
That one have to be read?
No.
No,
Okay. All right. Just checking.
It was
it was
Just
posted.
checking, Frank.
Yes, Mr. Mancini, for your question, it was posted.
Thank you.
All right, so discussion on that motion? Seeing none, Michelle, please call the roll on suspension.
Oh, you know what? I take that back. It wasn't posted.
Didn't think so.
Oh, never mind then.
My bad.
We're going back, we're going
I'm gonna
back.
read it now. Whereas the Smith Road resurfacing project includes a face of curb to face of curb pavement resurfacing of Smith Road from Snow Road to Elm Avenue, and whereas the Smith Road resurfacing project has been provisionally approved by ODOT to receive funds from repurposed earmark Ohio 009, parentheses ISTEA 92 through 97, and whereas this project is a federal aid local let project with NOACA, ODOT providing up to $560,953 for eligible construction costs, and whereas the project will be administered in accordance with the ODOT local let policy, now therefore be ordained by the Council of the City of Brook Park, State of Ohio, that Section 1, consulting engineer is hereby authorized to prepare plans, specification bid documents, and provide services in accordance with letter proposal dated February 22, 2018, for the Smith Road resurfacing project. The consulting engineer shall be paid a lump sum fee of $52,080 for Stage 3 plans and $27,375 for PS&E plans in accordance with said letter proposal. Section 2, the mayor is further authorized to advertise for bids and to enter into contract with the lowest and best bidder for the Smith Road resurfacing project. Section 3, the money needed to complete the aforesaid transaction shall be paid from the 2018 Street Improvement Fund number 545, theretofore appropriated or to be appropriated for said purpose. Section 4, it is found and determined that all formal action of this council concerning and relating to the adoption of this ordinance were adopted in an open meeting of council, and that all deliberations of this council and any of its committees that result in such formal action were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 5, this ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure immediately necessary for the preservation of the public peace, health, safety of said city, and for the further reason that the city desires to complete the engineering for the Smith Road resurfacing project as soon as possible. Therefore, provided this ordinance receives the affirmative vote of at least 5 members elected to council, it shall take effect and be in force immediately upon its passage and approval by the mayor otherwise from and after the earliest period allowed by law.
Thank you, Michelle. I'll re-entertain that motion.
Support.
Motion to suspend, properly supported. Discussion. Seeing none. Michelle, please call the roll on suspension.
Mancini.
Yes.
Orcutt.
Yes.
Bergio.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Salvatore.
Yes.
Poindexter.
Yes.
Stem.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Move to adopt.
Support.
Motion to adopt, properly supported. Discussion. Seeing none. Michelle, please call the roll on adoption.
Mancini.
Yes.
Stem.
Yes.
Poindexter.
Yes.
Salvatore.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Bergio.
Yes.
Orcutt.
Yes.
Ordinance number 11,021-2018 has been adopted. Seeing nothing else under letter M, we'll move to letter N, second reading of ordinances and resolutions. There aren't any for this evening. Moving to letter O, third reading of ordinances and resolutions. We have none there either. So council, at this time, I'd like to take a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of sale and purchase of property.
Do we have to adjourn the council? Okay, I'll make that motion.
Support.
Motion to go into executive session, properly supported. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none. Michelle, please call the roll.
Mancini. Yes. Poindexter.
Yes.
Salvatore.
Yes.
Stem.
Yes.
Orcutt.
Yes.
Bergio.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
At this time, we will go into executive session and reconvene upon our completion.
we can do one during this one.
Council, please take your seats.
He was here, where'd he go?
Can call the roll, just a second. Motion to adjourn the executive session.
Accept the motion to adjourn the executive session.
Motion so made.
Support.
Motion to adjourn executive session properly supported. Michelle, please call the roll.
Mancini,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Scott,
Motion to go regular order of business.
Motion to go back to the regular order of business properly supported. Michelle, please call the roll.
Mancini,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion to adjourn the regular council meeting properly supported. Michelle, please call the roll on adjournment.
Mancini,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Council meeting is adjourned at 10:40. We'll take
Go
a
back-
motion to go back
back
to
to
the
the regular-
caucus meeting.
Caucus meeting
Support.
prior to council.
Motion to go back to the caucus meeting prior to council properly supported. Michelle, please call the roll.
Mancini,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Mr.
We
Chairman.
left off at item 3 in discussion. Mr. Salvatore?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we move this topic to next Tuesday and adjourn this meeting.
Support.
There'd be,
That's
actually,
everything.
we were still on the capital improvement.
Yes.
Along with, after that, the, the ordinance for the consulting engineer prepare plans, correct?
Well, Councilman Mancini's piece, from what I understand, you just want to kill it. So all we gotta do is make a motion that was read. And we could, vetting committee, and it's over.
Right.
So we could do that now, or we could do that Tuesday.
Why don't we do it now? We'll get it done. We'll do what you want first.
So
Okay,
I'll entertain a motion to go out of the regular order of business, then go to that one, and then you guys do what you need to do.
Make a motion to move the.
Go out of the regular order of business, go to item 4.
Let's make a motion to go out of regular order of business to go to item, legislative committee, item 2, I believe it is, right?
1.
So there's a motion on the floor to go out of the regular order of business and move to the legislative committee. Support, anybody?
Support.
Support, I'll support it.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear him. All right, properly supported. Michelle, please call the roll.
Mancini,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Orcutt.
Yes.
Motion approved. We're now at item 2, legislative committee, Chairman Mancini.
All right, this is,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, go ahead, Councilman
I'd
Salvatore.
like to make a motion to have your resolution read in committee.
Support.
Motion's been made, properly seconded. Clerk, call the roll. Was it ready to come in?
Salvatore,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Mancini,
Yes.
Poindexter.
Yes.
Okay, the veteran Purple Heart parking was read in committee. Properly.
Thank you, Mr. Mancini. I'll entertain a motion to go back to the regular order of business.
Motion so made.
Support.
Motion to go back to the regular order of business, properly supported. Michelle, please call the roll.
Mancini,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to take the item 3 and move it to next Tuesday's meeting.
I'll support that.
Motion to move item 3 to the April 24th caucus agenda, properly supported. Michelle, please call the roll.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Mancini,
Yes.
Poindexter,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Motion is approved. That will appear on the 24th caucus agenda.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn the
Support.
caucus meeting.
Motion to adjourn, properly supported. Michelle, please call the roll.
Salvatore,
Yes.
Bergio,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Orcutt,
Yes.
Stem,
Yes.
Mancini.
Yes.
Poindexter.
Yes. Caucus meeting is adjourned. Good night, everyone.